Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, alongside Nick McCormick, as always. It's been a hot minute since we've been on here.
It has, literally a hot minute. It's finally cooled off, but it was hot.
Unbelievably hot.
Yeah, I've had enough of that, but it's nice out now.
Yeah, yep. According to the docket, June 18th was the last one. Seemed like we'd done one sometime in there before that, but I guess.
I think we attempted a couple, but got sidetracked.
Did we?
Yeah.
So would that been like when Ryan Kelly was here?
I think so, maybe.
So shit, I've been to Germany and back, and North Dakota and back. Hell, been all over the place.
Yeah,
so
been world traveling.
Yeah, I guess.
That's why we haven't got any done.
Exactly. Or I guess if we done one, we just recorded over it. So I guess that was lost forever.
Yep.
So we're kicking off this week with the 2025 Farm Progress Show.
Absolutely. Starts tomorrow.
Yep. Sounds like you're going tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to go for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Look me up if you're there. I should be. I think it's in the Case IH booth.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. At 2:00. So.
Yeah, I got to be there Wednesday at the Fendt booth Wednesday afternoon. So Acres TV booth inside the Fendt booth, and going to do a farming simulator challenge. I guess don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Don't play the game. So
yeah,
like I said on TikTok, if you're playing against me, you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
Yep. Did you make it to half century of progress?
I did not make it.
I'm saying I did not make it up there either.
I did not make it.
It was the year of the 1206. Seen a lot of good videos on TikTok, Facebook.
Absolutely.
Everywhere looked like it was a really good time.
Yeah.
Good weather for it.
Yeah. Turns out maybe you shouldn't pull a plow with a Chevy truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Possibly.
That was a bad deal.
That was a bad deal.
A Chevy. I mean,
I've heard both ways. If that was the original one from the ad or if it wasn't, I don't know.
Oh, is that right?
I've heard both ways.
Gotcha. Yep.
But, yeah, unfortunate nonetheless.
Yep. I was told, and you know how hearsay goes, that it was a plastic fuel filter that exploded or something.
I was told the transmission got warm and spit out of the dipstick and sprayed on the exhaust manifold.
Gotcha. Hard to say. Don't matter. Either way.
Either way, it caught fire. Yeah.
Yep. She's done and over. I mean, that's a bad deal. Anyway, you slice it, and then you go to a show like that in front of 10,000 people, and
that's always when that stuff happens.
Yeah, it's
right?
just like salt to the injury, you know.
Yeah. I could walk across your lot 1,000 times. The one time I'll trip, fall, and roll my ankle.
Yeah, there'll be 20 people.
20 people standing there watching. Yeah.
Yep. Never fails. I don't know. So, yeah, so farming's still in the shitter. Nothing's changed in that aspect.
No, the heat took the top end off the crops. They're going the other way. We are dry.
Yeah,
the weather's cool now, but it is dry.
I'm over a month now with nothing more than a glorified dew, half a tenth here, maybe a tenth there if you're lucky, but even them are few and far between now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we definitely mowed the top off of this crop. I mean, it's to be honest with you, I really can't tell you what it's going to make. I mean, I think it's going to be 200 bushel corn. I mean, it ain't. I don't think it's a train wreck. But
I think we went from late planted to potentially late harvest to harvest can be on time now because it's going the other way.
Maybe sooner than we think. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of year. I think the shanks are getting weak. I'm seeing some ears tipping
Corn's turning fast.
Yeah, I think it'll be a year when we shell green stalk corn with dry grain. Personally,
I'd say you're probably right. Yeah, at least initially.
Yeah, I mean, the whole month of July there was no relief, was there?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just boiling, and shit. We even had the hot nights to go with it, and we were setting up for a good crop. But man, we mowed the top end off both crops big time.
Big time.
So.
But fortunately, it's not worth anything, so we got that going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know when harvest will start. I'm not figuring on really drying much corn at all, if at all possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be the last week of September, I think, for me. I think
probably so. I mean, that's the way it's looking.
Yeah, I'm not going to push nothing. I'm curious to see how many guys will dry corn, like the guys that would normally start at 28%, you know, because they farm 10,000 acres. I'm curious to see if that'll be status quo or if they'll hold back a little.
I don't know.
I mean, you take $3.50 corn, which I guess you can get $4 now or thereabouts. It's went up some, but I mean, still.
You know, they're chopping silage around here. Just started. I don't know. That seems a tick early to me, but maybe not.
I tell you, I think the last few years have been skewed on the silage because it was later. So, had a cousin that used to dairy farm south of here, and I always helped them chop silage every year. But I remember me and a cousin of mine, about the time we finished up chopping down there, we would go to the Illinois State Fair, and catch the last couple of days. And shoot, that's been over since what's been over a week or week and a half, something like that. But now, granted, that was dairy cows. You know, they were chopping plenty wet, so I mean, there was a little bit wider window there. But
and the fair floats every so many years too, right?
Sure.
So that affects that.
But you know, if you stop and think about it too, though, like September 11th, we talk about that. We was all harvesting that year.
Yeah.
I don't remember what kind of crop we had or what the deal was. but I know for a fact we were harvesting.
Yeah.
Because we all seen planes flying over that night.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
it'll be what it'll be. Nothing we can do about it. So
yeah, that's right.
Take it when we get it and go on.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where this is going to land. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, whether it was grain market discussion, seen it somewhere. And once again, you got to take it with a grain of salt, sift out the bullshit. Whether or not this was true, I don't know. But that one guy showed fertilizer prices that he had supposedly got from his co-op, and I mean, they were basically what they were this year. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
buddy of mine showed some from his the other day, and they were not favorable.
I mean, how is that going to work? I mean,
it's not going to work well. Yeah. But I suppose if enough people don't buy, you remember we had that, oh gosh, what's that been now? Probably 15 years ago now, but similar deal. They were high and it was going to be super high. And then eventually it turned, pretty quick.
I've been meaning to
hung with a lot of high dollar fertilizer too.
Yeah. I've been meaning to make a TikTok about that because, you've always got the argument both ways. Everybody, one guy will say, well, if none of us buy fertilizer, it'd be cheaper by spring. Then other guys say, well, they've got you by the balls. You got to have it. So they'll just wait you out. I mean, we got enough competition in co-ops around here. If co-op A only buys half of their needs and co-op B buys all of their needs, well, guess what? Once the first one's out, right, then he can replace it at a cheaper price, right?
Yeah.
So now the other guy's got to follow suit, or you're not going to sell the other half, and you got to meet cash flow and everything. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. That year, if I remember the story correctly, there were some co-ops that had, barges full already pre-bought, just waiting, and then it turned and went the other way.
Yeah.
And there they were hung with high dollar fertilizer. And,
yep.
And that can take a pretty big size operation down pretty quick.
And these guys that run these co-ops ain't fools. They know if the numbers don't work.
Yeah.
The farmers damn sure know it. So why would you go out and fill your entire fertilizer plant with high-priced fertilizer? I mean, wouldn't you know that there's cutbacks coming? Guys ain't going to put on 250 and 250.
No.
So let's just buy enough that each farmer gets 75 and 75, and then we'll see where the market goes.
Yeah.
And so be it. So, I mean.
Yeah, let's face it. They got enough of our data now.
Oh, yeah.
They're never going to let it get. They're only going to let the farmer make so much.
Yeah. They're going to say you can pick your number, $85 an acre, whatever that number is.
Whatever it is. But they know that because they've got enough yield data, enough historical data on how much fertilizer is sold and so on and so forth. They know 3 or 4 years in advance where it's going to be probably.
Yeah. Everybody jumping up and down, got to get their climate hockey pucks and shit in there.
Yeah. Somewhere there's someone doing statistics that can figure that out.
I mean, you can't tell me if you couldn't get the inside track on that you wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, you should have Nancy Pelosi. She's probably got the inside track on it.
Exactly.
World's best investor.
Yeah. Yep. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's we can't handle a few years of this shit.
No.
Or well, I guess guys like you and I could probably better than anybody else that ain't trying to farm half the county and got $9 million worth of machinery loans.
It's still all relative though,
it
right?
Is. Like
those guys, even the smaller guys, or the guys got older stuff, got bills to pay too, and so on and so forth. And that there's a lot of trickle down into the other industries too, right? Whether you're a part-time salesman for an equipment jockey, or you're, you sell a little feed on the side, or whatever it is, like all that plays into it. So your second level stuff suffers too. So
have you noticed any upticks? Like I know the welding shops always said you could tell when farming got shitty because they got busy. Before it's just trade the fucker off, got the money, fucking, this thing's broke, just trade it off. Where now it's like, oh fuck, we got to fix that. So they would always get busy.
I could see that. I mean, I see that on my end, like a lot of older stuff. Well, we don't, it's no big deal. We're not going to fix that. Well, we're going to have to use that now because we can't, so that's probably similar on the older stuff that I work on. That probably does play into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to any machinery dealers. I mean, I'm assuming it's
still pretty slow from the guys I talk to.
Yeah. I think auctions, any of it, I think just nobody's spending any money, and rightfully so. I mean,
I think a lot of your items that are, I'll just say sub 100K, just for a random number to pick, and that's probably low, but are still selling well. But your higher ticket items, like, I don't know, I was talking to a guy the other day, and he ended up with an X9. He's like, it's not what I went for, but they basically made me take it. Like, he was going to trade 2 690s in for something or whatever. And it's like, well, we really need to get this off our lot. Why don't you take this? The thing he forgot about was that he had to switch heads too. So it wasn't as cheap as he planned on it being, but still, You know, there's no secondary market for that great big stuff.
No, we've talked about that 100
and
times.
then, yeah, and then other people end up in it because, well, same deal. Well, it's so cheap, I got to buy it. Well, now all of a sudden, costs a lot to keep it in the field and rebuild it, and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. We've said it 1,000 times, but if I drop a 48-row planter off to your place tomorrow, it's free. All it needs is new openers put on it. You can have the planter. Well, you just put new openers and new closing bearings, some bushings, whatever in it. Still a lot of money. And then what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You can't fold it out.
Nope. Can't fold it out. Ain't got a tractor to pull it.
Yeah. So
I mean,
the second tier market on some of that great big stuff's just not good.
No.
You know, the world would be a better place if combines never got bigger than Class 6.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to farm more? You want to cover more ground? Buy another 23. Buy another 9610.
Yep.
You know, but operators got few and far between. Help got short because the ag industry doesn't pay anything, and equipment just got bigger to replace it, so we could have less operators with bigger equipment. But the backside of that's not good.
So when we talk about the ag industry not paying anything, which is completely true, you know, most hired men on a farm don't make that great. I mean, there's rules to the exception. There always is. Don't get me wrong. But as a whole, if you're looking for a guy to drive a truck in the fall, you just the temporary help, like most guys need. Why do you think that? Is that a mental thing, or? And here's what I can't get past. Okay, so you got a guy here who's really good help. He'll go out and he'll chisel ground every night through the fall until it's done. Don't tear nothing up, whatever. And you want to pay him $15 an hour, and the guy says, "Man, no, I really got to have 20, or I'm going to do something else." And most guys will let him go.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you've got 6 quad tracks, 2 big ass combines, a King Ranch pickup, 19 semis, but the extra $2,000 that this guy would have got is what made or break.
You know, I think it's a mental block at some level. Like, let's take techs in the shop, for instance, right? So they can make whatever to do to their case dealer, whatever, working on $1 million combine, or they can make a third to double that working on a $150,000 semi. Doesn't that seem odd?
To me, it does.
But that seems to be from what I talk to those guys, that seems to be the case, right? Like, it seems like they can make more at those particular jobs. Like, okay, farm operator, like you said, okay, you can run this $600,000 quad track pulling this chisel for this, or you can run a ZTR lawnmower and work for the local mowing service and make $2 an hour more mowing yards.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Like, no. I don't know. The whole ag industry is that way, you know. I mean, like I said, there's exceptions, but you take your operators or your co-ops, this, that, and the other, for the hours they put in, the stuff they put up with, and the hazardous conditions that they're around, this, that, and the other, can do a lot of other stuff. Now, I'm super glad they do it.
Sure.
And it's partially, it's in your blood. You want to be involved in the ag industry, so on and so forth. But I think the pay scale in the ag industry is so drastically skewed. Take your random dairy farmer, random hog farmer. Well, I just can't find no help. I had to get these H2A guys, or so on and so forth. Well, yeah, it's because you pay $2 less than somebody that stocks shelves at Walmart. Yeah. That's why you can't find anybody.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and like at the co-ops, basically because now you spray all summer long, so from April till the middle of August, you basically have no weekends, no life, no nothing, because fungicide leans in, it is everything. Yeah. But you're supposed to do that for $20 an hour and be happy.
A bunch of our guys worked the co-op, and you did too for a while. Like, basically, those guys might have got a Sunday morning here and there. There was a time frame in there with the manager that we had. You might have got a Sunday morning, maybe. Otherwise, you're hiring your yard mowed or making darn sure you taught your wife or your kids how to mow it, because you're never going to be there to do it for 3 months.
Yeah.
During the peak mowing season, you're not even there to do that.
Yep. So they need double the workforce only for the simple fact to give guys time off. Mm-hmm. I think they get by with what they got as far as there's never a machine just setting because somebody can't run it. But you need twice as many guys, so this guy can have every other weekend off or whatever that scenario is.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And I don't know if that's where autonomous would really shine, and I don't know if that could ever be released for spraying. I mean,
I don't know.
That's a little different animal.
That's a whole other cup of worms there. I don't know. But by the same token, I see why those guys can't pay anymore, or why I can't pay anymore, et cetera, et cetera. But I just think it's odd that it's that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because once again, you got these guys that go up running multi-million-dollar machines.
Yeah. In charge of $1 million worth of stuff.
Yeah.
With a 10-cent
Yeah.
deal. And
Look at the road time you and I have getting stuff up and down the road at farming time, and look at them guys.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's tenfold what we have to put up with.
Absolutely.
Just the traffic on the road.
Just the traffic on the road, which is a nightmare. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're due for a reset in the ag industry probably. I don't know what that will entail or what that will look like going forward, but I mean, it's going to happen at some level. It always does.
I would be scared to death to farm 10,000 acres with, say it's you and you got one son-in-law and a good hired man, and then the rest is just kind of floaters in and out, never the same guy 2 years in a row. I would be scared to death to be in that position nowadays.
I have trust issues, so yes, it would be tough for me to do all that. Like, I like my stuff done a certain way, and I worry about little stuff that doesn't amount to a hill of shit in the grand scheme of it. And I can look past it usually. It eats me up internally, but I try to let it go. But, and some of that's my own fault because I don't necessarily vocalize how I want it done or what. And some of it doesn't really matter. Like, as long as the job gets done, it really doesn't matter if you parked it this way or that way or whatever, it didn't. So I, like, Nick, that's just a stupid thing to be worrying about. Just move on. But yeah, that would be tough to do,
I would think you would have to have some form of dedicated help. The worst case scenario, you can still get it done. I mean, shoot, I know guys around here farming 1,500 acres with it is going a whim, and it always works out for them.
It's fine.
It's always, somebody retires this year, and so he's looking for something to do. But boy, it don't seem like anybody that retires lasts long. I mean, the minute somebody finds out they're retired, their phone's ringing off the hook. Hey, can you drive a tractor?
It's kind of like retiring from farming. It's like kind of like trying to be a pastor and retire.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have your deal anymore, but you got 45 other guys that want you to do a little bit of theirs, I know one old guy used to deal with a little bit. He retired, same deal. Everybody wanted to farm. Well, and do this, and this. He's like, look, bud, I'm going to tell you right now. I didn't farm with the lights on at my farm. I'm not working late enough on your farm where I'm going to need to know where the light switch is at. Exactly. I'm going to quit long before that.
Yeah.
That's why I retired.
Yep. Yeah, there was a guy north of here retired and turned it over to his son-in-law. Great guy, and the son-in-law's a great guy too. And so the son-in-law said, well, you'll help me in the fall, won't you, or whatever? Oh, yeah, I'll help you. But he said, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm quitting at 4 o'clock. I don't care if the tractor's on the end of the field or the middle of the field or going down the road. I don't care where it is.
Yeah.
But if I tell you I'm quitting at 4 o'clock, I'm quitting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I'm done.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
You get what you get out of them. And
yeah, I mean, if you're going to work just as hard, it's like, well, I just stayed in it then.
Kept doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I always get a chuckle out of on some of those guys, like the first thing I'm going to do is turn it all over the tractor operation stuff. That's the funnest part of the job.
Agreed.
I'd rather hire somebody to do the book work.
Yeah.
Or grain marketing or anything other than the tractor driving. That's the part that's easy, especially as time goes by. That's the part that keeps getting easier and easier easier.
Yeah.
One of these days you'll just be able to think it and the tractor will do it.
Yep.
I don't want to give that up. That's the part I like.
Agreed.
Yeah,
it's funny how that all comes back full circle, I guess. But I don't know how some of these guys do it, though. I really don't. And they seem to make it work. They know more than I do, and my hat's off to them. But
yeah,
I would be scared to death this day and age trying to pull that off with a few flunkies. Because to me, I've always said, no help's better than bad help. If I got to babysit you or you're tearing shit up faster than I can fix it, I'm not interested in that.
Good help's worth twice what you're paying them. Bad help's not worth anything. It's worse than no help.
Yep. And nowadays, just with liability reasons, the wrong guy hit somebody on the road or something. I mean, man,
there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross on all that.
Yeah, there is. And I don't know. I mean, I don't follow other industries enough. I mean, is carpentry the same way? Like, if somebody's going to hire you as a helper to help them. I
assume big construction's similar, right? Like I mean, where would you? I don't know. I live in my own little.
That's how I am. I don't
world. I don't branch out much because big scary world out there.
It is. But then you get to the skilled trades, which I mean, carpentry would fall under that. But then you hear somebody that's a welding apprentice that's just basically handing welding rods, making $35 an hour.
Exactly.
So I don't know how it all.
Yeah. It come to find out, they're making more than a guy that's laying beads at your local welding shop day in, day out, that's beating stuff straight and fixing up whatever we've messed up and so on and so forth. I don't know. I mean, they had to travel a little bit usually, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of pay scale issues in this country.
Oh, I do too. I agree.
Well, at some point in time, and I get that these CEOs, and I hate to I don't want to harp on this because I know there's more to it than that. But like, you look at what some of these CEOs make, I'm like, I realize they're managing a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right. And I believe in capitalism. I don't think we need income caps.
I don't either, but I'm like,
there's a point.
Are you really worth that? Like, let's take John Deere, for example. I don't know what the CEO of Deere makes, but it's a lot. And their profits every quarter seem to be pretty healthy. But shit, we got to let these 260 people go. And we're going to have to move this shit to Mexico because that's going to cut into our, but you were still going to make a ton of money. Yeah. So why take the time to move the factory and do all that and lose guys that have been with you for 15, 20 years that know their job? Also that you can make an extra $100,000 this year, but going forward, well, shit, now we got to train new people down there and then things swing and we got to do something different. And I don't know. I suppose they're in charge of that for a reason. Maybe that's why they make $26 million a year. But.
And don't you think that's how wages end up getting reset in this country? So, and I'm just going to use the term hyperinflation just because it's easy to relate to. So wages just keep going up, right? So pretty soon everybody's making $35 an hour, right? And at some point, you got to shut it down somewhere because it gets unsustainable because then wages drive everything else, right? Yeah. So the only way to bring wages down is to fire everybody, and then they're down on their luck, and I'll hire you back at $15 an hour.
I think that's why a lot of companies fire a lot of people because they can rehire somebody for less.
Agree.
I think that's why a lot of companies move things from time to time. It's it's going to cost us $1 million to move, but we're going to dump $3 million worth of labor liability. We're going to rehire new people for $1 million. That's $2 million in our pocket, or $1 million, I guess, in that math, but in their pocket. So I think there's a lot of that goes on. I don't know. It's frustrating, I think, and we might have touched on this one other time. Basically, you can blame Dodge for this. Yeah, the Dodge brothers. To my understanding, Henry Ford wanted to pay more and lower the price of the Model T, and they were the majority not the majority stockholder, but they were the next largest stockholder or whatever, and sued him. It's like, nope, your first obligation is to the stockholder, and they won the lawsuit. And that's how corporations have been structured ever since. Your first obligation is to the stockholder.
Yep.
And that's why you see your big but still family-owned businesses that aren't public be able to kind of navigate the waters however they want to navigate. And you see Company A that was pretty good that went public, and now all of a sudden, well, they can't do what they were doing.
Agreed. Yeah. And looking out across America, I don't really know now which companies are publicly traded. So like just take Menards. Lowe's, Home Depot, are them public companies or not?
I think so, yeah.
Are they? I didn't know if they was or not.
I think almost all your
name brand or whatever,
name brand companies. I mean, everything's getting consolidated and so on and so forth. But I really don't think it takes that much to be a CEO. And if you don't believe me, look at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Really, after seeing what these other CEOs did and how that worked out, you thought this was a good move. Okay. I mean, how anybody in the upper echelon of Anheuser-Busch still has a job, I'll never know.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody realized, well, that we're going to switch beers, but it's still going to be an Anheuser product, so that saved their ass there a little bit. But you've seen all these companies go woke and do dumb shit because they're going to push the agenda. And that hasn't worked out financially for a single one of them.
No, it hasn't.
And especially, sometimes you got to know your customer. You can want to be as woke as you want. Woke people don't drink beer.
Yeah.
That's neat and all, but that's a terrible plan.
Yeah.
The Cracker Barrel thing makes no sense to me. I'm like, how'd that gal get a job? She was the CEO of Taco Bell previously, right?
That's to my understanding.
To my understanding. And I'm like, she got another job out of that?
Yeah.
But then I look back, I'm like, well, International Harvester hired that moron, in the 80s with his reputation. I'm like, well, so apparently once you make it to that level, I guess companies will just keep hiring you to do dumb shit.
And don't you think that shows the disconnect as to how far they are removed from guys like you and I or the listeners
so
or
removed from their customer base?
Yeah, they don't have a clue.
No. I mean, all you got to do is watch some of those guys speak. It's like you have literally no clue who you're speaking to.
Oh, yeah.
You take your big Aggie manufacturers or whatever, you hear those guys talk, it's like, it's been a hot minute since they've been in a tractor and did any work, if they've ever done it, and they for sure don't know very many people that do it currently.
It seems like most of them, I don't know if bigwigs is the right term, but most of them people you talk to, whether it's farm show, I'm gonna say the corporate side, not your local John Deere.
No.
Talking the big corporate guys, about all of them will tell you, well, I grew up on a farm in central Nebraska. But you can tell the minute you look at his hands and the way he composed himself, that fucking guy ain't done nothing since he was in third grade as far as helping on the farm. He knows that Dad's got cows, and Dad had a 4440, or he could rattle off a few tractors. But as far as physically doing it or helping, doesn't know nothing.
Biggest thing happened to him was when his mouse button got sticky.
Agreed.
And he pulled a ligament in his finger.
Yeah.
You know, it's like easy there, computer hands.
Yeah.
Once you go outside and change the tires on your car,
Agreed.
Come back and talk to me after that.
Yep.
You know, and nothing against that. The world needs all kinds of different people, but
same.
Those people are so far off of who they're selling to. Like, it really irritates me in the ag industry. It's like, it's one thing if you're the CEO of, you know, some clothing company or whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't expect you to know. I don't expect you to have sewn up clothes, I don't guess. But when you're selling to blue collar people, a blue collar product, it'd kind of be neat if you could check the oil in it before you try to tell me how much better it was than the model before that.
Yeah.
You know, I can read the spec sheet too, bud. Like, that's all you're doing. It's reading the spec sheet. You don't have a clue. You didn't set the one before. You haven't set in this one. And you damn sure haven't spent hours in it to know that the cup holder drops your drink every time you turn on the end.
Yeah.
You don't know that because you've never been in the damn thing.
Yep.
You know, you're going to try to tell me it's better. You're going to charge me more for it. You're going to enjoy another vacation because you got a bonus out of it, but you don't know shit about running it or why it's better.
Yeah. I seen that. The closest I ever got to corporate America, if you will, was when I worked at the co-op. You know, it's a large co-op. This ain't just 2 or 3 locations. I mean, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And it was getting to where, and it's still probably one of the more successful run co-ops. I mean, it truly is. But you could see, even when I left there 20 years ago or whatever it's been now, that, you know, things were starting to go with the buddy system, you know, so you had your top tier, and it wasn't near as big back then as it is today, but it was still big back then.
Still big.
But you could see where you were starting to get your buddy system. Well, I worked with this guy years ago at such and such, so now they bring him in as an upper management guy. And I'll never forget it. We had bought a whole shitload of new DMI anhydrous toolbars.
Yep.
And that's when they went to direct injecting the Inserv. So instead of putting it in the anhydrous tank, there was a tank on the toolbar to inject the Inserv. Well, it was mounted in the back center, so you couldn't see your hitch back it up to a wagon. So I always told them, because sometimes most guys that were bringing you tanks to the field didn't have time. They were just dropping them and gone, and you just hooked your own tank, you know, which was totally fine. But there'd be every now and again, it'd be slow or whatever, and one guy would want to help you hook up. Well, you couldn't even see him when he was standing back there. So I would always tell the guys, just don't even bother helping me hook up. I'll get it. I don't want to back over somebody. Yeah. Half the time it's 10 o'clock at night, you've been working all day. And
I'd rather get out twice as to wait for the ambulance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it was starting to be a little bit of a concern because some guys weren't like that. You know, they wanted help and this and that. And so one of the bigwigs come out and rode with me one day, and we were talking, and I said, and that was probably the first time this guy had ever been in a tractor. And so he was looking out, and he's like, well, yeah, you can't see that hitch, can you? And I said, no, you can. I said, it's not that big of a deal, but you can't see it. And he looked right at me, and he said, well, do you think if we put some kind of a big mirror back there where you could see around it, that would help? And I mean, I was completely dumbfounded. It's like, okay, yeah, so this mirror that's going to be so covered in dirt that you can't see it, or it's going to get ripped off, or it's going to get twisted. You know, I mean,
rock's going to hit it.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this was back before we had all these wireless cameras and backup. You know, we didn't have any of that shit back then. And it's like, I guess I appreciate the thinking outside the box, but it's like, that is not practical at all. I mean, what are you talking about? You know,
how about we talk to an engineer and we move the tank?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what you deal with. I wouldn't last 5 seconds in the upper echelon of corporate America. I mean, I'd just.
But you see it in everything too, right? Like, and this is going to ruffle a feather or two, but I'm like, a lot of times the guys that make it to the top of those piles are ass kissers.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at the military. You get somebody that's a hard charger go-getter, and they'll make it up the chain for a while. And they're like, well, this guy's too volatile. He's too kick-ass. We gotta put this guy in here because he does it the way we want it done. Turns out he couldn't take a hill if you give him all day to do it, and he can't even really tell anybody to take a hill, but he's going to tell you to take a hill.
Yeah.
And so they end up hanging these other guys out to dry, and the guys that really know how to get shit done. I mean, go back to World War II with Patton. You know, like, he could take a hill.
Yep.
Take the flat. He could take whatever he wanted. But, well, he's not really management material, we're going to have to nix him off and get somebody else in there that plays the game, you know?
Yep. And politics are the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all that is, a giant ass-kissing game.
Absolutely. There's not a business in the world that you would hire some of those dipshits to run.
No.
But yet they're in charge of us, apparently, or so they think, you know? And that's the frustrating part about life. Like I said, the secret to life is to be able to kiss just enough ass to get where you need to be, but not kiss so much that your mouth tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
You got to be able to navigate, but you got to be able to you have to have a skill to really be, in my mind, somewhat successful. There's plenty of successful people that have never done a day's worth of work in their life.
Oh, for sure.
Because they were really good at the ass kissing game or the I know this guy game, and they moved their way up. But what they accomplished at the end of the day doesn't amount to a hill of beans either.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're not wrong there. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you see that at every level. I mean, and that's fine, whatever. I mean, you see that all the way down to kids sports, to local politics, to who gets a culvert put in versus who doesn't. Like, I mean, it's at every level, you know. Like I said, so you have to be able to navigate some of that shit. But it is frustrating. Like, I saw a podcast here a while back. I can't think of the guy's name. I always see these clips on TikTok. Big bearded guy, mountain of a man. And his thing is like, I think everybody in America ought to have to work a blue collar job for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I don't necessarily disagree with that, because I think that would change a lot of those people. For one,
I think so.
For one, you're upper white. I don't hate upper white collar people. That's fine. That's their gig. That's the avenue they chose, and they're good at it. Whatever. But I think their view of how things would get done would be drastically skewed.
Yeah.
You know,
I totally agree.
The engineer that put that tank there, if he pulled that tank for one day, he'd be like, well, that's a stupid spot for that tank. Why don't we move it over here?
Even if you had moved it forward where you were looking over it from the tractor.
Absolutely.
You know, anything.
But he never took it to the field.
No.
On the computer screen, it looked fine, you know. He never took it anywhere or did anything with it. There's a huge disconnect. Back in the day, in the days of the 4010, the 806, this, that, and the other, all those engineers had grown up on a farm. They'd driven a tractor. Well, some of them had only driven two-cylinder John Deeres, and those probably don't count. But some of them had pulled the plow with a horse and realized that they needed a tractor. But now there's such a huge, and no offense, but there's a shortage of farm kids. So we've hired these A-plus city kids to do some of this shit, and they just don't have any hands-on experience. They don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
You know, they can't tell you if you're cracking corn, you need to slow the rotor down, because they've never cracked corn, and they don't know that the rotor's going too fast.
Exactly.
You know?
It all comes back to as simple as the TikTok I made 3 years ago with the Unreferth head cart. Mm-hmm. And everybody still gives me shit about that. I never put the sickle in there. That's how it come from John Deere. I didn't stick it in there. I always store them underneath the head.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, I store them in there, but I didn't put that one in there. They'd pull that from under the head and put it in there. But anybody with half a brain can see that them screws were entirely too long. Stick a flashlight in that tube. Why are we putting 1.5-inch long screws through a piece of 1/8-inch steel? I mean, what are we doing?
Last time I broke a sickle, I was in too big a hurry, but I did want to make a video where I was able to get mine out, but it was in the head.
Yeah. I never carried under the head because they would always get packed full of dirt and then they'd rust and everything else. You know,
I get it. I totally get it. I didn't have time to do it. Well, I should have made time.
But that's what everybody on TikTok. Well, you just store that under the head. And it's like, no, I've tried that. And then the head of the sickle is all rusted if you haven't had it out in 2 years because it got full of bean dust and everything else.
Yeah. Mine hadn't been in there all that long. When we got that head, we'd put all new stuff on it. And then mine drives in the middle, so it was not that long to begin with. It's two of them, and it's not that long.
And maybe I'm the only guy in America who stores it inside the head
I think
cart.
there's plenty of people that put them in the head
And
cart.
so you mean to tell me that I was the first person to figure that out? I mean...
Well, it's no different, Tony, than you remember after that DMI deal with those tanks, they bought all those stupid Blue Jet bars where the hitch pushes in. So you have to back up too close and then slide the hitch in. Nobody that's ever dropped a hitch pin would have let that go to production. That was quite possibly the dumbest feature I've ever seen.
I agree.
The only benefit to that is once you hooked up, when you pulled forward, it just latched. You didn't have to stop or back up or any of that. Like, it just latched. But I'm like, that was moronic at the highest level. Kind of like, hey, we're going to put these giant tires on it. But if the hydraulics settle the least little bit, it shreds the tire. Yeah. And now you have to have a telehandler to change the tire.
Or if your latch don't catch, you have on a double fold.
Yeah.
When you go to unfold, that kicks out and busts two shanks off the end. That you couldn't give me a Blue Jet toolbar. I don't care if it was brand new. I would not take it.
I'm good. I'll take a 5200 DMI.
Yep, I will take a ragged out DMI with a broken frame over a brand new Blue Jet any day of the week.
I'm with you there. You couldn't give me one of those.
Nope.
Like the first time one of those tires went down, I'm like, that shuts down the whole operation. Like they had to load up the Wrangler.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't get the tire because it was such a gargantuan tire.
Go get a truck and trailer. Go get the Wrangler. Oh, turns out the Wrangler can't reach it. Now we got to go back and get some sort of jib crane to put on the front of the Wrangler.
Yep.
We got to take 5 guys. At that time, there was no Milwaukee cordless impacts.
Right.
So we got to have a 3/4 drive ratchet, a 10-foot pipe, another ratchet, so on and so forth. Like it literally tired up the entire fleet of people.
Yeah.
To change a tire on one of those. And by the way, it's alongside the road, and we kind of need to get the hell out of the way.
And I don't know this. I'm shooting from the hip. But I know for a fact DMI was one or two brothers, the Diedrich brothers or whatever their name. Yeah. I have no idea where Blue Jet came from, but that was clearly a corporate blueprint when you compared the toolbars side by side.
Absolutely.
No two ways around it.
Absolutely. And, well, it was probably $3,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, did they just go around any other toolbar? Because, back then you had P&H, DMI. There was a few different ones. But did they just look and try to do everything completely backwards as the other companies? I mean,
it kind of makes you think they did. They're like, okay, well, if they're doing it that way, we'll do it opposite and see how that works. Yeah. I think they had a bunch of those big tires left from something or got them bought cheap.
I mean, them fucking things would have damn near went on a Rogator. I mean, it's like, what are we doing?
Let's try this out. In theory, these great big tires should carry the load. Oh, but by the way, you got to have a jib crane to get these out of there. Well, that's handy.
And I don't know about you, but back then we never had many trouble with tires, rims, axles on the DMIs anyway. I mean,
no, it wasn't a big deal.
Wasn't like it was. I mean, that was complete overkill. Well, normally I'm for overkill, but that was beyond stupid what they done.
Exactly.
Dumb.
That's like having the Bigfoot, whatever it was, with the giant tires as your daily driver.
Yeah.
It turns out not that handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triples on a John Deere A is not going to do you any good.
No. Absolutely not. Yeah. It is always mesmerizing to me how some of that shit makes it to production.
Yeah. And we've talked 100 times too, like on new stuff nowadays. And actually, a guy made a very good point on my TikTok today. And I don't know if you've seen, I was just talking about, would you rather go to Half Century or would you rather go to Farm? Do you want to see the old shit or the new shit? Take your pick. And the guy made the comment and he said, when was the last time, and he used John Deere, but actually, when was the last time any company come out with a tractor that you were really excited about?
Oh, boy.
Like when we were kids or even the generation before us, I mean, it's like, like imagine going from the John Deere 2-longer to the 4020 or the M or the H to the 806.
Honestly, to pick red and green both, it would have been the 8000 series Deere and the MX.
Yeah.
Case IH, right? Like,
a totally different design. I mean,
something totally different than what they had, or mostly different than what they had. I mean, Magnums were cool. We were a little too young when those were launched, though. So
we were. They come out 89,
87,
87. So I mean, we were 7, 8 years old when they come out. Yeah,
and we were still bitter from the deal anyway.
We weren't driving them.
We weren't driving them necessarily. I mean, I don't know if you could drive them at the farm show. I remember distinctly driving an 8000 series Deere.
Oh yeah, you could drive all that. You could drive.
The Farm Progress show was close to us then.
Yep. I think the 4960 was the first ride and drive Deere had up there. I mean, they just had rows of that shit. Just drive whatever you wanted. Combines, you could drive it all.
Yeah, you could drive it all. Drive it out there. Somebody rode with you.
Yep.
You could ride out and drive it, this, that, and the other. I think it was 8000 series Deere on that, but it might not have been when I did that. I might have taken a 4-wheel drive. Well, it's not really a 4-wheel drive. It was a John Deere. Real 4-wheel drives are built in Fargo, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that was a cool feature that they had that time. Was that when it was in Dalton City or it would have been.
We went to FFA one year. It was up at Seneca, Illinois, way up north, like our freshman, sophomore, however it fell that year.
Yeah. Because that would have been when that come out, I would have thought. The 8000 come out in what, 93?
Probably thereabouts, yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yep. I know it was out by the time we went in high school, but I know Dalton City, which is just north of us, I was in 6th grade. That was in 91. So, and I know the 8000 wasn't out
then.
No. I know for a fact.
I went to that one, but I went with a local neighbor here. So, yeah, back to your original point. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years.
I mean, and even nowadays, I don't care if you want to compare tracks to tires. Okay, so I got an 800-horse John Deere. Okay, wow, this one's got tires, this one's got tracks. But like back then, you had a 2-wheel drive 1066, and then they unveiled the 2+2. Now, whether you love or hate 2+2s, but it was something totally different.
Something totally different, yeah. As far as anything that's been revolutionary, I mean, the quad track coming out of the barn
that was cool.
Was dug in was cool.
That was cool.
But that was in the 90s. I mean, that would have been 96. 96, 95.
Probably because the first one was a 9370. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
It'd have been in that window.
yeah.
That's been a long time ago now. You know, yeah, they still make them, and they've got cooler, and they've got bigger, and but it's not revolutionary now, right?
Now it's
Like,
just creature comforts and
so now
dumb
you're
shit.
not as excited about it as you were then. Like, you know, for deer guys on a combine side, it would have been when they finally went rotary.
Exactly.
You know, things like that. But, you know, we're old enough that they used to dump in a glass wagon. Do you remember that, the Farm
oh
Builder
yeah,
show?
I do. Yep.
And then the one year the corn was wet and deer refused to dump in it because they were grinding corn. Like, now we're not dumping in it. And then they got rid of the glass wagon. It's like, well,
Yeah.
what's the deal there? And I remember one year, wasn't it? I think it was deer. It slugged theirs, had some trouble. Might have been early on in their rotary days. And there was a big wad of shit that they had dug out of that thing. And the Lexion comes swooping through there, and the guy driving the Lexion swallowed it all up and
Really?
kept right on trucking.
Oh shit.
I think was the story I had told. He's like, yeah, he happily just ran right through it and picked it
Yep.
up. No big deal. I got this and moved on, which, you know, a ton of that's operator, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Once again, they're not going to the top floor of those complexes and grabbing those guys to operate them that day.
Exactly.
They're getting somebody that's ran a combine before,
Yeah.
or at least they should.
Yep.
But
And that's what was cool. Like when you and I were kids, like nothing was on tracks back then.
No.
But if we would go to a state fair or a farm progress show, whatever, the Cat Challengers were out, and even the old original
Yeah.
Kloss combines
Yeah.
were on tracks. And I remember as a kid, you're like, holy shit, this thing's on tracks, you know.
well, I remember it was fairly rare to see a front wheel assist. Mm-hmm. Big tillage tractor when we were little kids. Like that was, I mean, we had them around the shop. We were selling them, so on and so forth. And Heston probably pushed that more than most companies back
I'll bet
then,
it was
honestly.
the year 2000-ish before they started getting popular in this area. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
just everybody's two-wheel drive. Right now.
Everybody's two-wheel drive. Yeah. Because we got to use them for this, we got to use them for that. And front wheel assist originally didn't turn for shit. So
Right.
unless it was a dedicated tillage tractor, you know, you couldn't use it for anything else. So we'll just buy a two-wheel drive and put some fluid in it and get by, you know.
Yep.
But yeah,
But he
been
made a
hot
good
minute.
point. Like, yeah, I couldn't tell you last time that they come out with anything from any company that
Yeah.
you're like, holy shit.
But I suppose every industry goes through that, right? Like when the
Oh,
first computer comes out, that's awesome, right? It's revolutionary. And then they make a couple of advances that blows that out of the water. And now you're like, oh, this one's just a little bit faster. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Kind of like smartphones.
Like now I can't even tell if it's a little bit faster because, well, my internet's my restriction, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember when we were kids, this is how old we are, but you remember playing solitaire when you would win, the cards would bounce real slow
Yeah.
across the screen.
Yep.
And you could tell how fast your computer was by how fast the cards bounced.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, this computer needs rework. Like this thing's slower than shit. It used to be faster than that because the cards are bouncing slow. It's in all
Yep.
the RAM's tied up or whatever, RAM, whatever the hell it is. But now it's like, done. It's
Agreed.
like, okay. You know, but it's not revolutionary anymore. We've got computers.
Right.
Now you're to the point with AI and you just like think about it and it probably does solitaire for you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, every industry is probably that way. You know, we were just talking about tonight on our short drive we took, you know, diesel pickups. Like, you know, I made the point to Tony that the Dodge Cummins was so revolutionary for those guys because 318 kind of sucked. Like, no, it wouldn't blow nobody's socks off. Like, the truck wasn't great. It was on its tail end of its production. Dodge was going to kill it. A 318 and a 360 wasn't blowing anybody's skirt up too high. We get this 5.9 Cummins in there. Well, shit, we don't care that the truck sucks. Like, the engine can do something. Ford guys, like, we've had an okay engine for a while. Like, it could be better. Like, but then you get the first generation Power Stroke, and it's pretty good. So the second generation Power Stroke doesn't blow your dress clear over your head because, like, well, I had one of those before. I had an OBS before, even though we didn't know they were OBSs then. So it's a move up, but it's not revolutionary, right? Whereas if you hopped out of a 360 with its tongue hanging out and hopped into a 5.9, like everything's better than that 360.
Yeah. Or the Chevy 6.2 diesel.
yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you do with a Chevy 6.2 diesel, Tony, is you stay the fuck away from a trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
You make sure there's no hitching moments to that at all, and that is a daily drive. That's a grocery getter. And they were, if you just drove them as a car, not terrible.
Got good mileage.
Got good mileage. Didn't cause a ton of trouble other than that PMD box on the 6.5, whatever.
Clanging and banging.
But you just keep them away from a load.
Yep.
You know, which Chevy set so low back then they couldn't get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they couldn't go off road anyway.
Yep. Growing up, I had a neighbor I helped farm from the time I was a little kid. We was always baling hay, driving tractors, whatever. Guy had 6.2 diesels, my entire life growing up. He had a good one to set in the garage.
Absolutely.
And he had the farm one.
Yep.
And I remember you would hook on, and of course, when you baled hay for him, like, he wasn't going to work nobody 2 high. 4 high, 1 on top. I mean, it was like a sand. You never went any higher. I mean, goddamn, he wasn't going to overwork nobody. So I don't know if you had 100 bales on a hay wagon. I mean, it would have been any more than that for damn sure. And you'd hook on to that 6.2. I mean, it was all that truck could do to get that thing out of a dry field in July.
So the same neighbor, his wife taught school, and a couple of them were 5.7, like half tons, weren't they? Either way.
Yeah, I don't remember.
No, they were always 4-wheel drive, so they would bring him to the shop and it'd be running rough. And literally all Dad would do is drop it in 4 low and drive it 2 miles down the road and bring it back. And he's like, there you go.
Wide open.
Wide open. And clear it out. Because his wife just puttered it to school through the country, and puttered it back.
Yep.
And they get all carboned up and so on and so forth. Find out it's like, you could do this on your own. He's like, I just can't listen to that, Ferd. He's like, turn the radio up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that. So he must have started doing it because he never brought one back after that. But then he figured out Dad was running them wide open for 2 miles and he couldn't take that. I don't know which way it was, but that's all it took. The other thing we miss out on anymore, back then that Chevy was so proud of that 6.2. That emblem was half the size of the truck.
I know.
They want to let you know that you got a 6.2.
Yep. And that had the hood ornament, too. That was
absolutely. Let you know.
11 sheet of paper.
That you had sprung for probably a $200 option. And you got the diesel version of a bored out 350.
That was probably worse than the gas.
Yes, absolutely. Can you imagine getting dropped halfway around the world? Because it's funny how things go. Like, we had 5.9s, we had 6.9s, 7.3s, all these relatively good engines. The only one that's still made... The 6.5 still made, and it still goes in Humvees. Can you imagine getting dropped off halfway around the world? And they're like, hey, people are going to shoot at you, and we're going to put you in the world's shittiest engine.
Yeah.
The vehicle's pretty good, but it's powered by the world's shittiest diesel.
It's got great big tires and weighs 40,000 pounds.
Yeah. And it's got a 6.5.
Yeah.
Got a 6.5 turbo in it.
Good luck.
At some point in time, like, who doesn't make the correlation here? Like, all our gen sets are Cummins or Cats. I think mostly Cummins. Maybe we should use a 5.9 in that. No. We got all these parts left over from a 6.5. Somewhere there's a guy with a government contract.
Oh, yeah.
Hammering out 6.5 parts, just laughing his ass off.
Yep.
Yeah. We haven't retooled since 1984.
Exactly. And like we've always talked, they're making 1 million, parts for that fucking thing and throwing 500,000 of them away.
So they can make another 1 million next year because it's a government contract. It's great. But we got to get back to the badging. We got to get back to the badging and the pinstriping.
Agreed.
We got to get back to pinstriping, and I want names on the doors.
Yep.
I don't want it mandatory that I have to put my name on the door, but we got to get back to people painting their names on the door.
When we were, I don't know when that changed. So when we were kids, it was still common to see trucks from the early 70s or even late 60s on the road. But in Illinois, you had to paint your name on the door of the truck and then the vehicle weight of the truck you were in.
Yeah.
So
isn't it funny how times change so much? So I've only caught a little bit of it, but there's a new documentary out on the Dallas Cowboys once Jerry Jones bought them. Okay?
I haven't watched it, but I've seen the previews.
So I've seen the first episode and part of the second one. Okay, so this guy literally drives off in a 76, 77, 78, 79. I couldn't see the front headlights. So a late 70s Ford truck. The guy's playing in the NFL in the 90s, and he is in a 79 Ford driving away. And I'm like, you're not going to see that today.
No.
He's not going to be in a vehicle that old.
No.
So on and so forth. Like, his name was not on the door.
Yeah.
But it should have been. But it did have some pictures.
And the stupid part is, like in Deere's case, I don't know if Case IH is this way or not, but in Deere's case, now we do have all these package options. You got your 6140M, your E, your R. But in trucks, it's just like, no, this is all you get.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't option them out individually. It's the package, and you're either getting an XLT, a King Ranch, or a Platinum, and there you go. Move on about your day.
I mean, they even had cool paint schemes back then. Had it all, but now it's all mass production. Just dip the fucking thing.
I want to bring back the clown stripes.
Yeah,
I love those bright orange stripes.
Yeah, they had some neat stuff back then.
Yeah,
I don't know, like my old 78 out here. Was that have still been hand painted back then, you think? When did they get away from that?
I don't know. 2388s were hand painted.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Guy with a spray gun. Hose it down red.
No kidding.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know when
because that was a big deal when they went to New Gen.
Really?
Yeah.
I know my 9610 was dipped. I know that.
I'm fairly confident that 2388s were just sprayed, hosed,
No kidding.
sprayed. Yep. Which would have been way past your truck, you know.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
But I assume your truck would have been hand painted back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose maybe was that what the trim packages were all about, to cover up blemishes? You know what I mean? Where you're making two colors come together and whatnot.
Would make sense. I don't know that was the reason, but it would make sense.
Right. I mean,
Because everyone, like on a Ford, it was chrome, and then it usually had a black, like, I don't know what that material was. It wasn't really plastic, but it was
it was
plastic-ish.
just call it kind of a bumper type material.
Yeah, and then it always get a ding in it. And then, oh, shit, now my trim is messed up. But the trim really wasn't that long necessarily, so if you cared, you could, back when you could still buy all that stuff easy enough, you could fix it if you wanted to. But
I don't know when Deere, IH, either one got away from hand painting. I know for a fact Maximizer combines, the 9600s were dipped. I don't know if an 8820 was dipped or if they were sprayed. I don't know. But
I assume they were sprayed because that was a big deal because the 9610s were dipped and the 23s were sprayed.
I'll be damned.
So I think that was a big, like, quote unquote, selling feature that we dip paint ours.
Really?
If I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I'm
funny
pretty
on
sure I'm
old
right.
tractors, 806 or whatever, to see runs in them. New. I mean,
Yeah.
not necessarily in the sheet metal as much, but
Well,
frames.
that's why I always get a shock. Well, I fully restored this one, I'm like, well, yeah, but you did it wrong. Well, no, I didn't. I'm like, when I each did that on a 1466, they just hosed it all. Like, they didn't tape any of that shit off.
Right.
Hoses were red. The manifold was red. They were
Filters.
They were painting it all.
Yep.
It was all hosed down red. But, so there's the same thing with restored cars, right? So you've got a 69 Mustang or whatever, 69 Charger, take your pick. You can do it the way the factory did it, where it drifts off as you go into the inner fender, so on and so forth, and that's correct. Or you can do it the new age way and do it what we'll call proper or whatever, where it's crisp and clean, and it's better than original, but it's not original like.
And how do car shows base that? Like,
I don't know. I don't get too caught up in that shit. It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. Like, they're only original once. If you're going to redo it, I guess do it right. But it's kind of like a lot of these guys, smooth the whole frame out on their 4010 or whatever. That doesn't wind me up. The casting doesn't bother me. I get why they do it, and that's cool, I guess. But, some people are drastically skewed one way or the other. I can appreciate either one. As long as they're nice, they're nice.
And the older I get, I don't like different paint jobs. Like, I like the factory, how it's supposed to. Back in the day, like, people put the black stripe on the hood of an International. Hey, it looks fine. I'm not saying it looks bad. But I just like the original look.
I'm to the point in my life where I want it done original, except for a couple of things. The people that do the white hubs on a 1206 with the red cap, I know that's how it's supposed to be. That drives me up the wall. Either paint the whole freaking spindle red and the cap, or don't do it at all. That irritates the piss out of me. Yeah. I know that's how it's supposed to be. It looks dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Paint the whole thing red. Be done with it. I'm kind of torn. I like them original, but there's some of those unique ones. Like, I'll be the first one to tell you. If I had a 1206 where that panel is, it'd be white.
Yeah.
I think the white panel in 806 looks better. If I had a 1456 today, that panel would be white because that panel looks better white.
Did a 1206 originally have silver rims or white rims?
White rims.
White. Okay. I wasn't sure.
White center castings, silver rims.
Okay. I wasn't sure what the correct. I've seen it both ways. I wasn't sure
white
what
center
was.
casting, silver
I like the looks of the white rims better myself, but
well, with the red center casting, but with the white casting, it looks kind of
I agree. Agreed. Yeah,
But,
yeah.
We had our old pulling tractor. We eventually painted the center hood black. I will probably do the one I'm doing up now black.
Which would make sense because that's not an original looking. I mean, it is
exactly.
I mean,
and I don't like that from the side, but I love it from the seat.
agreed.
And I liked it when we pulled it that way. It was just to make it a little different, and just because we were redoing it anyway, so on and so forth. My dad used to have a 1066 that was painted that way, and that's the one I have the most pictures of. Well, at least at one time I had them. I don't know where they're at now, and there was always a picture of him and my brother. I was probably in a couple of them in matching Amsoil shirts back in the 70s, early 80s with that tractor, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll probably paint the center on that one black, but I totally get where you're at there. Like when we redid my V8 in the 90s, early 90s, I painted the frame black. The guy we pulled with had his that way. I thought it was cool. We shot it black. regret it now. When I redo it here
Yeah.
sometime.
Back then, that was a $4,000 tractor.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't matter. You know, now when I paint it back, it's going to be red.
Yeah. I get that.
It's going to be red.
But the one you're redoing, with the big rear tires on and all that, you're not shooting for the original look anyway. So, do that however you want. I totally get
the
that.
center hood of that one will be black.
To be honest with you, honestly, I think it beats the 1206 and everything. I think just a good restored black stripe 10 or 1466 is about as sharp a looking tractor as you can get.
I like them. Yeah. I'm more of a white panel guy than a black stripe guy, but black stripes are way easier because you
paint her all red
and put a sticker on it and you're done,
Yeah. I don't know why, because they are kind of plain, but I just really do like the looks of a black stripe tractor. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I guess because you don't see that many of them, maybe.
So as much as I like white front wheels, we did that on Dad's 766 that we redid. Only because the wheels come white, so we didn't have to repaint them, and the paint was perfect on them. The wheels really need to be red. A black stripe with white wheels looks dumb.
Yeah.
I need to repaint the wheels red.
Yeah.
Probably not going to.
Right.
But it can sit in the shed with white wheels or red wheels. It doesn't matter.
Nobody knows.
No. When it sells on my estate auction, when my kids get shit can it, because it doesn't mean anything to them. They won't know the difference, and somebody will buy it and do whatever they want with it. But
I will admit, one of the dumbest paint schemes I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen this several times, is guys that'll take a 4020 or a tractor of that style, and they'll paint the front weight bracket, because it wraps around the frame of the tractor. Yeah. They'll paint that yellow, and then the side screen's yellow.
Drives me up the wall.
It is the dumbest looking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That looks hideous. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm the first one to tell you, I don't think green and yellow go together.
Right.
Nobody buys a green and yellow pickup truck. You know why? Because it's not offered, because it doesn't go together. John Deere's trying to make a payment, it doesn't go together. I like yellow, and I can tolerate green. The little bit of yellow on your 4010 makes it pop, and that's fine. When you do those side panels yellow, that looks like hammered ass.
Oh, that is
it's just terrible.
It's
if
awful.
you're gonna paint, if you want to do something cool, paint the whole damn thing yellow.
Yeah.
Because John Deere yellow over the whole thing would look great.
Yep.
Yellow can be a good color, but when you just do those couple panels, and it's usually off a couple of shades, just looks like shit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've seen that before, and it just, I don't care if you unload the tractor in my driveway and said it's yours, I wouldn't take it.
It's funny how little things bother certain people that don't bother others. Like I am diehard. I like red spindles and white wheels on the front of a 66 or 06, take your pick. A buddy of mine's diehard John Deere guy. You paint the hubs and spindles green on one of those, put yellow wheels on it. Oh, he's infuriated. Like, it could be the nicest tractor in the world. Like, hey man, I know this tractor's worth $15,000 the way it sets. I sell it to you for $5,000. He'd be like, but you got to keep the spindles green. He'd be like, no, I don't even want it. Like, you just can't handle it. I get it. And it's funny, the little things, like when I see an IH hub with a red spindle and a white wheel, always reminds me of my dad. Like, that combination always reminds me of my dad, because that's the first guy I ever saw that had those. Now there's a million people that did it, but back in the day, like just the way that hub and spindle looks on an IH, not any other tractor. You could do it to 1,000 other ones, didn't look that way, but a 66 hub is made a certain way. That always reminds me of that since I was a little kid, But yeah, you do a green spindle on a yellow wheel, and he's all sorts of upset. But a solid yellow 4010 would probably look good. It would look way better than a couple yellow panels on it.
What do you think? And this just hit me because I've never seen this. What do you think a red and white Magnum would look like? So like on the hood?
I've seen it done once.
Really?
Not as good as you would think.
Really?
But there was a couple other goofy things about it. I don't remember exactly what it was. It didn't look. You could probably do it correctly, but this one didn't look that great.
And I'll admit, so when IH done Case, I guess here, a few years ago, done the anniversary combine, was that like a 5130 or something?
Yeah, yes, 51 and 61, 40s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, I didn't like that finish.
Oh, I love that.
See, I didn't think, it reminded me too much of a white. You remember back the 8600 whites? It reminded me too much of that.
Well, they went back to how the cab top used to be white on a 1460, et cetera. Yeah. That's where they did that.
And for the listeners, I'm talking the white, like Agco.
Yeah, you're talking about the white, like an 8600 or whatever.
Yes, yeah. But that's what it reminded me of at first glance.
And, so like, let's say you've got a black stripe 1066 and you paint that side panel white. That looks dumber than shit. I don't like that either.
Agreed.
Different strokes for different folks. That's why there's a million of them. Like, we used to laugh back in the 9,000 farm stock days in Illinois. At one point in time, I think there was 26 tractors in that class that followed it pretty religiously. And 25 of them were 1066s. Painted every combination you could physically think of to try to make it
Yeah.
different than the
You're
other
right.
guys. And I get why they did it, but the older I get, I'm a more classic, just do it how it should be done and
Agreed.
move on type guy. Neat and clean, less is more. You don't have to be.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hair colors, tattoos, piercings, this, that, and the other. And in the modern world, if you don't have any of that, you're more different than the person that has pink, purple, blue, and polka dot hair. Like,
Agreed.
so
And even like on my 4010, when I redone it, I didn't put LED lights on it, all that stuff. I get it. LED lights, hands down, better than the old halogens. They truly are. I don't use that tractor of a night much.
Yeah.
And I don't like the looks of the LEDs.
So you can buy them now that look like a halogen.
Really? Now that I would do.
But they're LEDs.
I would totally do that, but I guess I didn't
You're right.
realize.
The LEDs look stupid and shit.
Oh, yeah. It just,
Nothing pisses me off more, Tony, than when somebody brings a tractor in and they were too cheap to buy the replacement LED lights. Now, I'm not your 4010 or whatever, that's the round ones. You can get halogen looking LED lights. I'm talking when guys take off a round light and put a square light on because they were $3 on Amazon. That drives me up the flipping wall.
agreed.
And they've restored it to boot. Like, so you spent $5, $10, $15, $20,000, $5, whatever it was, redoing this deal. And you went with the $3 versus the $5 light option that makes it look like complete dog shit. And then, well, we need a little more light, so we zipped a freaking light bar on here. Light bars don't belong on tractors.
Agreed.
There's a place for light bars, and light bars put out a shitload of light. I get that. Buy the right damn lights.
Totally
You
agree.
can buy, early on, okay, but now you can buy kits that come with all the lights that go in the correct spots and they plug in the correct way. And you don't have to jack up the wiring. You don't have to screw up this, that, and the other. You can just plug and play and put them all on like they're supposed to be. You don't have to cobble it all up. That infuriates me.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
And you don't have to screw a light bar to the hood to do it, Like, tears me up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't know they made LEDs that look like halogens. That was my only drawback of not doing it.
Because
I
you got
just-
the dots otherwise. And
Yeah.
now they make them look like more of a frosted lens that looks
Really?
just like the halogen. Yeah.
yeah.
They're not quite as bright, but they're better than a halogen.
Yeah, like I say, I don't ever try
You
that.
remember when halogen lights come out? It's like, oh, you got halogen
Oh,
lights.
yeah.
And they had the little sticker on them.
Yeah.
It said halogen, and they got about 4,000 degrees, and your alternator pretty much went bad the second you kicked them on,
Yep.
and everything dimmed on the dash. But
Yep.
god dang, you had some light. Turns out, you turn one of them on now, you're like, so you got 4 Bic lighters and a candle. All right, cool.
Yep.
What'd you have before that? Just 1 Bic lighter and a candle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess they were an improvement, but
And some guys take it too far. Like we all see these TikToks of these guys. I don't know if they're in India, Bangladesh, wherever. Like they pimp their tractor out to the 10th power. I mean, curtains, beads. Like you've seen them.
yeah.
haven't you?
Oh yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and some people take it too far. It's like either keep it completely original or go with the unoriginal look
Yeah.
intentionally, but don't go over the top.
Yeah. Yeah. Some days less is more.
Yeah, I'm not into chrome mufflers. Like when you chrome the whole muffler, I'm not into that. That just looks gaudy to me.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It wasn't uncommon back in the day to have somebody with an 806 that would have all the white panels chromed because they could unbolt them easy. Their son was in the tech school and they could chrome shit. Because back then, apparently, everybody had a chrome tank, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
And we're going to chrome this and do that. That's neat for about 4 minutes, and then it's rusting and nobody ever did anything with it. And then now it just looks like shit. But yeah.
And I do like the 10 millionth 1066.
5 million.
Or
Yeah.
5 million. Yeah, 5 million 1066. I do like that paint job, truthfully.
Absolutely. The problem with it is now everybody's got one.
Yeah.
There's literally 5 million tractors that are paying like the 5 million.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's more 5 million 1066s than they physically made damn near,
And I'm assuming IH as a company only painted 1 or 2 or 3. Yeah, I
The
did.
5 millionth was that.
Okay.
And so there's a huge debate on which colors it was and so on and so forth. And so you see a bunch of them that are replicated that weren't really right. And why they picked the colors they did on the original one are odd. And originally it had 12-hole rear wheels, but all the pictures of it now and in its current state, it has 6-hole rear wheels, which would have been off an 86, which isn't right. It's not what it came out with originally, but nobody knows how or why from what little bit I've read on why it's that way.
But I'm assuming the original 5 millionth never sold, did it?
Oh, yeah, it sold it several times.
Or I should say, like, it didn't go out to a farmer. Like, it might have changed hands within museums or what. Like,
Well, it went, I'm going to mess this all up. At one point in time, a dealer group bought it, I'm going to say like in the Dakotas, but I think they left it outside for a while. I don't know where it's at now. At one time, when he's passed away now, but a friend of mine had the opportunity to buy it, but it was I think it's in the 80s. He's like, I can't really, I'd like to have it, but I can't really swing it. Because he'd bought a couple Super 70 2+2s. He's like, I really didn't get the money for this 5 millionth. I mean, he could have probably done it, but it would have been a smart business move at the time.
Yeah.
In retrospect, yeah, should have bought it. But yeah, I don't even know where it's at now. I mean, it's out there somewhere. But in my mind, the only 5 millionth pulling tractor that can exist is Rob Russell's Workhorse. I see a 5 millionth, it's got to be Rob Russell's Workhorse.
Just because it's identical? I mean, or
he was the first one to do that on a pulling tractor, to my knowledge, at least at a high level. And that would have been in early 90s. Rob, if you're listening to this, I'm still a little fussy. You put a John Deere combine on the side. But he had that tractor on the side. That was back when everybody did murals, right? Which I kind of miss. Mm-hmm. I like the neat and clean, but I kind of miss the murals. Back like the pinstriping, so on and so forth. So it had a mural on one side of that tractor, of a 1066 with a cab, the 5 millionth, pulling a grain cart, but I think it had a damn John Deere combine on there, which is frustrating. And the other side, I don't remember. When he sold it and it became the Stray Horse, I think it was a picture of the dealership that guy owned at the time with tractors lined up, et cetera, et cetera. So that's been too long ago now. But in my mind, I remember when he brought that to Louisville and it was primer, and everybody thought, oh, he's just got it primered. Well, it was primered white / gray, a little bit of both. And then for the start of that spring season, it was the 5 millionth. And in my mind, I remember Rob Russell's Workhorses before that. But in my mind, that if I see a 5 millionth, I think of Rob Russell and that tractor and kicking ass. Like that, that's what I see.
Yeah.
I always loved that tractor. But then everybody did it after that.
Yeah. I just assumed that went to museum, stayed. But I guess once IH broke up, then I assume it was fair game.
Case didn't care.
They didn't care.
They were broke. They were trying to sell off shit. But yeah, it's changed hands. I'm going to say 2, 3, 4 times.
I'll be damned.
Probably. But I think it's in a museum somewhere now. But.
Yep. And so mentioning Case there, and stop me if we've talked about this on here before, because I don't know if we have or not. But how do you get companies? So let's take Ford, for example. Their farm machinery just is dog shit, or it was. I guess I can't say now, which I don't know what it is now. It's New Holland, whatever. Yeah. But an 8-in Ford was a piece of shit. I mean,
I'm not a fan.
And even the 7000s or whatever them numbers were, the blue ones, in the 70s and 80s were fucking junk. Everybody will tell you they were junk.
Yeah.
How do you take a company that makes really good pickup trucks, things like that, semis back in the day? They were okay semi.
Sometimes you got to stay in your lane.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't know what you don't know. Like I think Henry Ford had somebody popped off to him about farm equipment or something. Isn't that how he originally got into that?
And he was going to try to.
He's like, well, the hell with you. I'll just start building farm equipment then.
Yeah,
I think was the deal. Well, that's how Lamborghini got into cars, right?
Yes,
they were a tractor manufacturer, and Enzo Ferrari.
Yep.
Popped off something to Lamborghini, whatever his name was. He's like, well, the hell with you, I'll start building exotic cars then, which turned out to be way more successful than his tractors.
Agreed.
And not coincidentally, I think they both went broke and got bought by somebody else. But yeah, it is interesting to see how that could go. Like, you were that successful in this, but no good at that.
Yeah.
And I guess, as much as I make fun of Deere for really not ever making anything outside of farm stuff, and pirating most of that, which is a genius plan at some level. Let somebody else spend the development money and then just copy it on the backside if you can get away with it. But I drove an IH Scout on beater with a heater. You're not bringing your John Deere truck that day because they didn't have one.
Yeah.
You're not putting a cold beer in your John Deere refrigerator because they didn't have one. They never really built anything else. Their contribution to the war effort was, didn't they build some prototype 2-cylinder with like a couple steel plates on it? And
it was.
The military's like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, assuming they show up on, Shetland ponies, we're still getting our ass kicked.
Yeah.
You go ahead and take your 2-cylinder home. I think that was like their contribution to the war effort, where I just building rifles, whatever, after the fact. But yeah, so maybe there's beauty in just staying in your lane. I don't know. You know, it is interesting. Chevy didn't try to get into farm equipment. Dodge didn't try to get into farm equipment, but for some reason, I think somebody popped off to Henry Ford is what drove him
Yeah,
into
there
that
was
deal.
some story. Now that you mentioned that, I know I've heard that, and I don't remember what the deal was now.
It was something along those lines. But
And I guess I should back up and say, I don't know if it's fair to say that the 8-in was junk. I mean, it was better than a horse. I mean, but that was about the
extent of it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of love for those. I am not a fan.
No.
But their prior model, that their popular one was the Jubilee, right? Wasn't that their big one? Yeah.
But like, I know you've had them in the shop before, them 7,000s. I don't know what the 7,600 Fords, whatever.
Yeah, I'm good there.
I mean, you talk about a clusterfuck just putting weights on the front end of the thing. I mean, like, who thought this was a good idea?
No redeeming qualities.
No,
No.
none. I think Mike Burkhardt had a video way back when.
Yeah.
That they had one and the right.
It was a 9600, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the right rear wheel or something kept coming loose and falling off. It was.
They put like 3 transmissions in it. It was a whole big gamut because
Yeah.
he had to buy it when they bought his parents out.
Yes.
They had to buy that piece of shit.
Yep.
So they tried to use it because they spent so much money on it. And then they had to keep throwing more money out. And they're finally like, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah, just cut your losses.
Because they were going to buy a deer and something happened. They couldn't buy the deer. And
Or maybe they
whatever.
just spent a bunch of money. I don't remember. Something weird. But.
Every farm back then has a story. Like I was talking to a local guy here years ago, and I'm like, how'd you end up John Deere? He's like, well, my dad had made a deal with the IH dealer on this tractor, and then he sent me up there to get it. When I got there, it was gone. They'd sold it to somebody else. Now, whether all that, I mean, I don't know the intricacies of that. If he casually mentioned to him in the bar that night and went the next day or whatever. I mean, there's 3 sides to every story, right? But he sends his kid up there. Well, it ain't there. So they, borrow the phone. His dad's at work or whatever. Well, it's tractor's not. Well, I guess go down and see what John Deere's got and see if they got one. And then that's how they got started on John Deere. Because turns out the IHs were selling fast. Deere still had a lot full of them, I guess, because they couldn't give them away. Yeah. But and they were Deere. I mean, they're still Deere to this day. But I'm sure there's another guy that's got the opposite story of that, right? Like his dad sent him to town to get a Deere and it was gone, and he ended up buying a 806 or whatever it was, I don't know. I remember Dad telling stories, they would have a list of people on the wall that wanted a new 806, 56 series, 66 series there for a good amount of time. And they get a load of them in. Hey, Tony, we got a 856 in here. Here's how it's set up. You want it or not? Well, I really wanted a narrow front. And you said that one's wide. I'll wait for the next one. All right. And they moved to the next guy and get your name back on the bottom of the list and go on,
You always talk about guys scratch your hood, wouldn't you?
There was a local guy here. Yeah. His dad come in, wanted to buy one off of my dad. And I had several of them, several of whatever model he was buying that day. I don't remember what it was. And he wanted this one. Dad's like, we had 3 or 4 of them that were basically identical. He wanted this one, borrowed a screwdriver and put a big scratch right on the hood. That way he knew when they brought it, that was the one he was getting, because that's the one he wanted. He picked it out of the lineup, and he wanted to make sure that's the one he got. Like literally put a scratch in a brand new hood. Dad's like, I can't believe the guy just did that. But,
been a lot easier to write the serial number down, but what do I know?
He's like, well, you're taking it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just bought it, whether you want it.
That one's yours. Yeah, that one's yours. Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah, could you imagine nowadays having a waiting list for people wanting a tractor? I mean...
Dealers would line up for that now.
Yeah.
Of course, back then, they were a lot smaller and you had to have them and so on and so forth. Now you get one big one can do what 4 small ones could do in theory for certain jobs. And
And that's where I'm always torn. So I really do truly believe that the quality of life today is better. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, we can run to town 20 times a day. We can go out to eat if we want. We can do whatever. But back then, it didn't matter how much you farmed. Everybody had a new tractor.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you farmed 200 acres or 600 acres. Everybody had at least one new tractor.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So do you think, I don't know how to word this. Like I said, everybody had one new one back then for the most part. Of course, your alternative was to go breed a horse and try to raise that so you got next year's farming animal, or buy a new tractor or whatever. But if you wanted to farm more acres back then, you bought multiple new tractors, but you had your one new one. You used it for a variety of things. I don't know where I was going with that, but everybody had one back then, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the most part, a new or newer pickup. I mean, it's like we talked, you've brought it up in the past, like in the 70s on a 1066, we say, well, goddamn, I just can't imagine buying a new tractor and then turn it into a pulling tractor. Well, there wasn't any used ones.
Yeah, in 1971, where are you getting a used 1466?
Yeah.
You're not.
Exactly.
So they'd order them in, narrow front, 3-point delete, PTO delete, take them to the track. Where else are you going to get one? You know?
Yeah. There wasn't no used ones because they were that new.
They were that new. And even towards the end of the production run, like there wasn't a lot of used ones to be had. What'd you trade it in on?
Right.
Like you bought it and you kept it and you were using it.
Yep.
Yeah. It is interesting to see all that went. But
it is sad that the world never does go backwards. I mean, that does suck too.
It always moves forward. I mean, I'm as much for tradition and against change as anybody. I'm kind of the John Dutton. I'm the opposite of change. But that's the way it goes, right? Like,
it is.
Somewhere there's a guy that had the most badass pneumatic impact you could get. He ain't selling very many of them anymore,
Are we the first generation in the world that wants it to go backwards? Every generation before us wanted to go forward, right? I mean, you were living in a hut with no electricity, with no air conditioning, with no vehicles, with no nothing.
We might be.
And we're to the point where like it's going too damn fast and it's getting too damn big. Let's slow down and back it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. We probably are, to a certain degree. Do I enjoy some of the newer stuff?
Sure.
But just take your average day, right? How much time do you spend trying to get technology to work the way it's supposed to, where you literally have just pissed time away?
Yeah.
Whether your internet connection's sketchy, your cell phone connection's sketchy, whatever, and you're trying to do this, that, and the other, you're trying to send off a stupid email or so on and so forth, the previous generations didn't even have to mess with because it wasn't a thing.
How much productivity has been fucked away just on AMS stuff? Mm-hmm. Computers for your farm equipment, whether it's the plant and monitor, the auto steer, you name it.
Oh, they took this satellite down. Now you got to switch the settings. So you got to watch a YouTube video. Hopefully you got enough cell phone signal to do it.
My yield monitor quit. Goddamn, I can't harvest another acre without that. I mean, I can't send my shit to Monsanto without it.
Spend 1,000 man hours a year jacking with that stupid shit.
Yeah.
And it's great when it works.
I mean, in 1901, you'd have gave anything to have a car that would make it from here to 30 miles down the road just so you didn't have to walk. I mean, So maybe we are the first generation that wants to go backward. And I don't want to go back to 1940. Don't misunderstand me.
No, but I'd go back a few years and it would be fine.
I'd go back to the mid-90s.
Like we said, at one point in time, everybody bought a new tractor. You could buy a new tractor to go tractor pulling.
Yeah.
It was a new 1066 back then stripped down. It's probably $8,000. Yeah, I know Dad told me the story in 71. They were selling them for $9,250, and that was with 3-point PTO.
Yeah,
fully equipped, ready to go. So I got to think a stripped down one was less than that.
Yep.
So it was in the mid eights, low to mid eights. Which I realized proportionally with the blah 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 whatever
inflation, whatever
inflation, all the shit. Well, it was still some money. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't mind going back a few years. Like you and I talked earlier, like my old 7.3. I bought that in 04, 05, something like that. It had 38,000 miles on it. Probably the closest I'll ever get to a new truck. Probably the closest I'll ever get. Now they're $100,000. They got a whole bunch of shit on there that the average person, how many features do you think the average person actually uses on those trucks?
Very, very,
very few. Like, I've got a 2013. I've got all these auxiliary switches, right? And I flip them for fun, but they don't do anything. You know why? Because you can't get to the power form's still inside the cab. The dipshits didn't run it outside the cab where you can hook into it easy, and I refuse to drill holes anywhere through any of that shit. And I don't need any other accessories. The lights on it are plenty good. I don't have anything else on it, so I don't need them to do anything. But I'm like, it's neat to have pre-wired switches. It'd be super awesome if they went to like a bank underneath the truck where you could easily hook into them, but they don't. They might now in 2025. I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of that shit. It's like, doesn't, it has navigation until I backed it outside one day. I decided to update and now it doesn't work.
Yep.
I haven't talked to anybody that can tell me how to fix it. I don't really need it because I got it on my phone. So to hell with it. I don't need the navigation anymore. It was nice to see the map here and there so you didn't have to jack with your phone, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole bunch of that technology that is literally wasted. And never once in my life have I pulled up to a stop sign and said, you know what would be great if my truck would shut off.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't do that, thank God. But they have them that do that, and that seems dumber than shit to me. What I don't like doing? Changing starters.
Exactly. Because they're always in a convenient spot.
Convenient spot. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to know who was the guy who got fucked into all the horses when everybody started trading horses for tractors.
A lot of
Somebody got hung.
Every dealership in America was taking horses in on trade at one time.
Yeah.
And they had hitching posts to the dealers, and they were selling them to the guy that had shitty horses for some better horses.
Exactly. The guy said the tractors will never catch up.
So to our earlier point, the nice part about horses is they die.
Agreed. So yeah, you're getting rid of them eventually.
Getting rid of them eventually. So in today's farm equipment world, and Tony and I just talked about this during our short break. So you take pickup trucks versus farm machinery. Pickup trucks rust out. We spray the roads with salt, I think intentionally, to make sure that vehicles only last so long. Sure, it helps with the snow and the ice, allegedly, but we were getting around in all rear-wheel drive shit before, but now magically, unless you got all-wheel steer and all-wheel drive and...
Once again, a politician with a salt contract.
Yeah, traction control and a salt contract, you can't go anywhere. So this shit disposes itself at some point in time. But your combine set in the shed that we were just looking at is a prime example. It's not rusted out. It's fine because you don't use it in the winter.
Exactly.
So it conceivably can still keep going. So eventually you've got all this equipment stockpiled. So the conversation Tony and I were having is, so if you took, Sloan's is the big deer dealer in our area. If you took every combine that they have on their lot.
Right now
today, a month before harvest, and you destroyed all of them. They were just gone. They just disappeared from the earth. Is there a combine shortage? Hell no, there's not.
No.
There's 50 other deer dealers that would gladly truck them to you for a less than premium price just to get the hell off their lot. We're so overstocked on that. We see it every year. There's planters that don't see the soil for 2, 3, 4 years. Combines that don't see a crop for 2, 3, 4 years because we've overproduced all this shit and it's so big.
We know guys that are farming the same amount of ground now as they were in the 80s.
Yeah.
With old 60s equipment.
My grandpa farmed at one point in time damn near as much as we do now with a 630 case.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Not a fleet of them.
Not a fleet of them.
One of them.
A 630 case.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of shitload of labor for my dad, but a 630 case.
Yeah.
You know, and that, granted, it took them a month and a half to plant and so on and so forth, where we got like 3 days now, it seems like.
Yeah.
Before we get the chance to get pounded with rain and redo it again. But yeah, we have produced so much big shit. Like, what do you do with it? Because, you know, the old adage, well, guys that buy Cadillacs or Lincolns or whatever, they don't buy used. All right, cool. It's the same way with tractors and combines.
Sure.
You know, the X9 is a prime example, right? Like, how many people that bought the X9 initially really needed an X9? And I'm not picking on X9 owners. If you want an X9 and you can swing it, my hat's off to you. Knock yourself out. I don't give two shits. Doesn't matter to me. But how many of those bought it because, well, they're kind of limited production and my neighbor can't get one and well, I had a little money socked away, but I think I can swing it. And I got one because I can have one before he got one. Okay, man, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that, if that's your bag, go for it.
Yeah.
But then you end up with this fleet of X9s on a lot. Next thing you know, your deer dealer's like, well, I know you want a 780 and there's like 1,800 of them on Tractor House, but we'd really like you to take this X9 because we still got John Doe's from last year and he wants to trade again. And
this was the guy who paid $1,000 a separator hour to trade it.
Yeah, exactly.
He has fuck you money.
Literally $1,000 a separator hour. And he's like, oh, I can't really sell you this one unless I get rid of that one. And here we go, you know. And by the way, you're going to need some heads. But and now Case is doing the same thing. I mean, it's just the way it happens. Somewhere there's a typewriter guy that was king of the world at one point in time, right? You know, computers in those James Bond movies were the length of this house to do very simple, basic math, you know. And then now we can hold way more computing power than that in the palm of our hand. That's just the way life goes. I get it. But
to me, so like the X9 point, and I've said this 100 times on TikTok, people always bitch about the price of this, price of that, price of this, and that. Well, guess what? If you quit fucking buying them, they won't be that high.
That's true.
But nobody can get their hands on them fast enough.
Yeah.
The X9 combine is a custom harvester combine
Yeah.
where we live.
Yes.
You don't need one of them where we live. Now, if you're going to go on the wheat harvest and do 40,000 acres of wheat this year, you might want a fleet of X9s or some or whatever.
Maybe. Yeah.
But where we're at, honestly, nobody has the
The need for one.
to have one of those.
All those acres that were being farmed were being farmed with 9610s and 2388s
Exactly.
not that long ago.
Yep.
Every acre was getting covered. We got less acres in the world in the United States now than we had then. It was all getting harvested then. So I don't know. Like I said, it's the way life is. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. To a certain point, you'll have your ebbs and flows and your peaks and valleys, and it'll back up a little bit at some point. But it just is what it is. You know, would I like to have a new AF-10? Sure, I'd like to have a new AF-10.
Where do you think it would be if you could look into the future 100 years from now? I mean, like, where do you honestly think it would be? Will it be 5 people farming in the U.S. or will it not be? I don't know.
You know, so to that point, like, let's take my grandma, for instance. She was just a month or two shy of being 100. So she saw it all, from horses to good horses to better horses. She hated horses because she farmed with them, hated them, to tractors, to moving on up into...
Yeah, when did she die?
Oh, it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes,
now?
I mean, yes, she got clear into the...
Something like that. And into the very modern farm machinery era. It's like, so if that cycle repeats itself, where will we be? You know, when we were kids, cars were going to fly, and they were going to, you know, Back to the Future, you know, the time frame that they claimed that to be in the movie was a few years ago, I think.
Yeah.
We passed that up, and cars don't fly. I don't have a hoverboard, and my Nikes don't dry themselves out, and so on and so forth. But if that does continue, where will we be? Gosh only knows. I mean, it'll be crazy.
I've always said if the world went on long enough, wouldn't the world be one giant cemetery? I mean,
well, eventually, you would think.
So,
you would think
if it goes on long enough,
I think you'll see. I think we'll see it, probably not in our lifetime, but I think our kids will see where everything gets great big. You know, because we've seen it in our life. I was just telling my wife yesterday. I'm like, well, when I was a kid, they built a brand new super Kmart right there. We were in Mattoon. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a big super Kmart right there.
Yep.
And it was awesome. Life-changing. Kind of, sort of ish. And they built a new super Walmart right next to it. Now the super Kmart is not there. The building's gone. Demolished. Over. Done with. Nada. I think we will see a time where it comes back to smaller stuff at some level. You know, when I was a kid, if I wanted a new pair of shoes, if we were going to get a new pair of shoes, we went to a little shoe store in Effingham called Ivan's Shoe Store.
I remember.
And Ivan was a great guy. And he would size your foot up, and he would, you know, make sure your right foot was the same size as your left, and this, and you actually get them sized and fitted and actually buy shoes that fit, as opposed to now where you order them off Amazon. Man, they're pretty close. I think we'll see a little bit of that come back, but it'll be niche deals in specific markets and in specific areas. Like, if you've got an area that's pretty diehard local-ish, like, prime example, we live not too far from one of those. They've still got one of the best clothing. So if I'm going to buy formal wear for a wedding or whatever tomorrow, that's where I'm going. It's the only place I can get fitted for a suit without driving to, quote unquote, the big city. They still do it that way for the most part. I think you'll see a little bit of that come back, maybe. But, you know, when we were kids, when did you go to a gas station where your dad didn't know the owner?
Yeah.
Now the owner's not even from the United States.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see a little bit of that come back. Not a lot, but I think you'll see some of it come back. But just because travel is what travel is and things are difficult, but I don't know. Maybe not.
And maybe things grow so big so fast. When we were little kids, I'm talking 5 years old. I mean, my God, if you farm 3,000 acres, holy shit, the world's coming to an end. I mean, my God, damn, nobody needs to farm that much. Well, now it's like, well, shit, if you're farming 3,000 acres, you could damn near work in town. You know, now it's 10,000. So in 50 years, will it be 100,000? I don't know what that number is.
You know, So I've caught a little bit of flack recently from a certain someone, and you know who you are if you're listening, about bagging on big farmers. And I don't have any problem with big farmers. I honestly don't.
Same. I don't either. I truly, it's not my jam, but I don't.
It's not my jam.
If you want to do that, that's
I
fine.
don't. But I think if you ask those, I think if she dug down deep on, I don't know how to word this, you have to grow at a lot of levels, and I get all that. But at some point in time, you become a people manager. You're not farming anymore. You're people managing. I think in their heart of hearts, all those guys, if they can make a good living like you should be able to make from having a multi-million-dollar investment, even if you're quote unquote a small farmer today, you've still got millions of dollars. Sure. If you own 300 acres and you farm 700 acres, you've got millions of dollars tied up. You just do. If you could make what you should be making off that, if you were in any other business, if you were a car wash guy or I talked to you about tonight, if you own storage units and you literally had $6 million tied up in storage units, you'd expect to make more than $100,000 a year, right?
Totally.
If you had $6 million tied up, you would. If you had $6 million worth of restaurants, you'd expect to make more than $100,000 a year. And I'm just throwing random numbers out. So I think they would all go back to something less than that. But the margins keep getting cut thin because they have all our data, because they have all this. So you have to keep doing more and more, and equipment's getting so much more expensive, so on and so forth. So you have to keep growing and expanding. Now, 10,000 is not enough now. Now you have to have 20,000 acres. Now you have to, because that animal, once you start that snowball down the hill, it starts rolling, and the only way to make it keep going is to get more and more and more, because what we've got to support is getting bigger. We've got people that we employ, and we've got houses we have to provide, and we have this, and it keeps getting bigger. So you have to keep doing more and more and more to make that work, because the margins keep getting thinner and thinner and thinner, which is why we've seen almost every major business. You use Walmart, for example. Every small town used to have a grocery store and a clothing store,
hardware store,
etc. Now they've got a Walmart 30 miles away. They don't have anything in their town, but they've got a Walmart 30 miles away where they can get most of that shit. It's probably subpar quality, and it's probably not what they want, but that's where they can get it, and they can kind of sort of get through their day. So that's going to continue to go until it doesn't. I think it will implode at some point in time, and you'll see a little bit of it regroup in certain areas. It won't be everywhere. It won't be a mass exodus, but I think you'll see in certain places, especially where people are good with managing it and good with their money and good with timing, that will hit that just right, and they'll have a small mom and pop this, a small mom and pop that, a small mom and pop whatever.
Yeah.
You know, how many people do you know that if we threw them in a car right now and said, hey, we're driving 4 hours from here, and on our way at the 3.5 hour mark, we're going to eat.
Yep.
Where we're going to eat. They're going to tell you a chain store.
Oh, yeah.
And you can give them 3 local food options that are probably better, but they're going to pick a chain store.
Yep.
Because that's what they know. That's what they're used to. And I'm guilty of it myself. It's at a lot of levels. But the mom and pop's probably better, but they don't have the exposure. They don't have the advertising, whatever. But I think you'll see that come full circle a little bit where it goes back to that. It's less than where we're at now. Mm-hmm. I don't think it will be widespread, but I think it'll be less than where we're at now.
There's two points I'm going to make to everything you just said. So like we talk about the snowball that these big guys, they think to some degree it's like, well, I was happier farming 2,000 acres versus 10,000 now where I'm a people manager.
Yeah.
And my response to that is, okay, most of you dipshits probably own 2,000 acres, so it ain't that hard to get off the Ferris wheel. Just say fuck it and farm what you own and probably make a damn good living.
But once you're on the Ferris wheel, it's hard to get off.
And nobody wants to go, quote unquote, backwards. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you went from farming 10,000,
losing
money, to the 2,000 you own making money, but that don't look good in the community. So heaven forbid we do that. And then, so right now, I think the current trajectory that we're on, and this is just based on what I know today, I think grain farming will be vertically integrated just like all the livestock eventually, if we keep going like we are.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee any point that that's going to change as of now.
No.
So I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger till you have 150,000 acre farms. I think that's where we're headed now.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that could change that is our generation Gen Xers, and it could bleed into the millennials. There's always a big debate on what's a millennial, who gives a fuck. But we're the forgotten generation, right?
Yeah.
The boomers won't get out of the way. We say that the kids below us don't know nothing or don't want to know nothing or don't want to work or whatever, which that's another point I'll get to. I think it's bullshit, which I think they do want to work. So the only thing that could change that is our generation that says, you know what? Growing up, I put up with all this shit of all these guys running over everybody, just renting every acre at a fucking loss, whatever. So it's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to rent to the kid down the road because I know him and he's a good kid and I ran around with his dad when I was younger and I want him to farm it. That's the only thing that could put the brakes on it a little bit, I think. Now, I don't know if there's enough of us to make that happen by the time you start splitting shit up.
So, to my point earlier of, I don't really have anything against the big farmer. What I do have a major problem with is, and I see this every day at the shop. Well, god dang, we ain't got a grocery store anymore, and our gas station's owned by, whoever, and so on and so forth. And, yeah, boy, just don't know. It's the same guy that rented his ground 3 counties away to somebody he didn't even really know, but he heard from somebody who heard from somebody that they paid a lot of money. Okay. And then the next time I see him, I'm like, boy, the fireworks display wasn't as good this year as it was last year. Yeah. Who do you think donates to that? Well, I don't know. Who does donate? All local businesses. How many are left? Well, ain't very many. I don't know what happened to them all. Well, I can tell you what happened to them all. They don't exist anymore because ground got in small town America, everything's based off ag. At least in the Midwest, in our local area, which
love it or hate it,
it's all based off that. And I don't care who you talk to. It could be anybody from the principal of your high school to the head guy at your co-op.
Yep,
it's ag based at some point. If you don't believe that, talk about canceling a foreign language class at your local high school, and talk about canceling the FFA. I can tell you which one will get more support and get more resistance.
Agreed.
It's going to be the FFA is going to win that battle.
Yeah.
Or at least it, by God, should be.
Yeah.
If it's not, you've got a huge other problem. But, and then we just don't know what's happening to all this stuff. Well, I can tell you, it all in our school, we'll just use our local stuff because that's what we know. In our school district, I guarantee you there's more acres farmed by somebody outside of our school district than there are people that live in our school.
Oh, yeah. If not, it's neck and neck. I mean, it's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk.
Yep.
And they're all good people.
Yeah.
But they didn't get here on their own. They got here because somebody made that choice.
Yeah.
The landowners that were selling, renting, whatever, made that choice. And that's fine. That's theirs to do. We live in a free country.
I agree. It's your land. Whatever
your land you want to do with it. That's fine. But don't bitch to me later on about, there's not a this or that or the other. The restaurant's failing. The gas station's going under. There's no grocery store here anymore. So on and so forth. Don't bitch at me about that. And then on the flip side, do that.
Yeah.
Because the number one commodity we have is the land in this in this school district.
Yep.
That's the number one thing we got.
And to back up what you're saying, if you don't believe that we're right on this, every small town in America, or just about every small town, has a 100-year anniversary book or something.
Yep.
So the little town that we got right here, both of our addresses, it's 400 people. Mm-hmm. In 1930, it had a John Deere dealership, 2 grocery stores, a clothing store, a hardware store, a horse stable. I'm talking
Ford dealership
all the way down Main Street, and I'm talking 15 businesses probably, right?
Yeah, at least.
Okay. So then as things start consolidating, right?
Yeah.
This guy retires and this guy gets, and back then it was big by today's standards. It was nothing. This guy went from farming 160 acres to 240, whatever it was. Well, that consolidated. Well, pretty soon the John Deere dealership leaves. Well, now the clothing store leaves, and then you just keep chipping away at it. Yeah. And here we are just almost 100 years later, and we're down to one gas station owned by towelheads, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
And it's a shithole at best.
That's all there's there. Well, let's use this for an example. And I'm not in no way trying to knock Deere for this. Well, maybe, but I don't care. So they're hell-bent to consolidate all these dealers, right? So at first that sounds good, right? Because now your single store, he couldn't really afford a dedicated AMS guy, a guy that really knew his shit. So he goes in, he's got 3 or 4 stores. And they've got this guy that can tell you what's going on. when you turn your monitor on, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. He can tell you what's wrong. All right, cool. Well, he gets outside the ag industry because turns out ag doesn't pay shit, and he moves on to does something else. And now they buy 7 stores. And now you can't even get the guy on the phone. The new guy they hired, you can't even get him on the phone. Now they got 75 stores. You don't even know who to call. And allegedly they're supposed to have all these experts and supposed to be better. Do you know anybody in a and this is in no way a knock to Deere because everybody's doing it. Case is doing it. AGCO's doing it. Everybody's doing it. But you know anybody that's got all these extra stores where they really thought their service got better?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that Ford, Chevy, Dodge, take your pick. Once initially, when they first start to grow, that might have been true. But once they get so big, they're like, I don't care if Tony calls back. Nick will call tomorrow. We don't even need Tony.
Give you a prime example. And I don't know that consolidation is ever good. I would really have to stop and think when consolidation at any level is good. And I'll give you an example. Okay. So you're the father. You got 2 sons.
Yep.
Okay. So you 3 are all farming together. Dad dies. Now the 2 brothers farm together. Boy, this is going great. Now each boy has 3 sons.
Now we got a problem.
We were consolidated, but now we got too big, right?
Yeah.
So now what are we going to do?
We got to get really big to bring them all in.
Exactly.
It's our only option.
So now what's that do to our local community? Now, here we go. It's the vicious cycle. So I really don't know when you actually stop and think about it. And I'm not saying it's never worked or never happened, but really is consolidation at any level good for anybody?
That's a very interesting point. I don't know that it is.
Because eventually it gets too big and too out of hand and quality goes downhill.
Well, I think in any industry, well, I'll tell you what I think on this. Once you have to hire other people to help you do whatever it is, I don't care if you're hammering nails, putting horseshoes on, working on tractors, whatever. Once you have to hire other people, the service side starts to go down.
It does.
If I was shoeing your horses, you don't have any, thank God, you're lucky.
No shit.
And I could only shoe yours and 3 other neighbors because I was farming on the side. That's all I can get done. Okay. If I hire another guy to help me do that, do you think your quality of service goes up or does it go down? Is he going to care as much as I do?
Right.
If I only work on your tractor and 3 of your neighbors' tractors, plus I farm a little bit on the side, that's the only 3 guys I work on. So I need to work on a 4th guys now. Well, now I have to hire somebody. Is my service going up or down? Probably down.
I would agree.
So if I partner with a local guy, another guy here that's working on 3 guys, and now we consolidate. Now we only need 1 set of tools, allegedly, but we didn't sell any of that other shit. And if we did, it was for pennies on the dollar from what it was worth. So another guy could have claimed to expand and try to be better. Did the service go up or down? Probably down. Yep. I mean,
because now we just take the one phone call. Well, you always shoot Joe's horse. I always shoot Jim's horse. Mm-hmm. Well, now we're just busy, so you're actually going to shoot the other guys. Well, now he's not really happy because...
And I am in no way knocking horseshoers because that is a job I don't want.
Oh,
those guys earn their money every day.
How many times have co-ops around here, we always had the little mom and pop, and they weren't even co-ops, but they were just ag services.
Yeah.
And some even had elevators.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, so-and-so bought them. This actually might be pretty good. A year later, they closed the elevator, the whole facility. Well, fuck, now we went from 2 elevators to 1. Well, what good did that do me?
Yeah, exactly. Now there's a really long line at the 1. Well, that really worked out. We saw that locally.
Yeah. I don't know the consolidation.
I don't know that it's ever been better. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know that it's ever been better.
It just seems like you get on the hamster wheel then. Now it's growing. So now we consolidated. Well, now we got 6 extra employees. So now we gotta get bigger and we gotta go. And
we just talked to a guy on Beater at the Heater. I don't know if you're still standing there or not. His local dealership had 13 techs not that long ago. They've since been bought out. Now they have 4.
Yeah.
Do you think service got better there?
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that you went from 13 at this location to now we add more locations and we go to 4?
We go to 4.
And so that sounds like a good plan to you.
It didn't sound like they're gaining there. It sounds like they lost some service there. Yeah. That's a good point. I don't know that consolidation ever helps.
I mean, we've seen some pretty nasty shit around here over the years of guys who amassed pretty good-sized farm operations, livestock and everything, 2 brothers. And just like I said earlier, now they all start having kids. Well, shit, we got to split this up. Well,
Yeah.
now, how do you do this? Because
Yeah.
I don't want the cattle if we're splitting up. Well, the cattle building's on your land. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it just it turns
My
into
son doesn't like cattle, but I've got the cattle building. Your son does like cattle, but he didn't have a cattle building.
Yep.
And now we got to try to figure out what the hell we're going to do with it.
Yeah.
You've got the home place. I don't. Yeah.
I don't know.
My advice to youngsters is be mindful of your family situation, but don't be afraid to put your hand in the wind and do your own thing.
Agreed.
If you got to split off from your family farm and do your own thing for a while, be cordial to them. Don't cut them off.
Yeah, don't burn any bridges.
Don't burn any bridges. But if they won't work you in, don't be a slave with the backside of thinking you're going to get worked in.
Yeah.
Just from what I've seen, and I'm not throwing my own personal situation in there at any level, shape, or form. Like I'm fine. Well, all that's working out, but I literally see that every day. So don't feel like you have to stick around for that, because you'll gain a little respect by doing it on your own. If you get brought back into it, great. And I've talked about this before. I think at some level, parents ought to have to sit their 18-year-old son down and be like, hey, here's the deal. If you do this, this, and this stuff is coming your way at this age. Otherwise, how many people do we know personally? You and I, but man, it's mostly the same people. Do we know that literally thought that things were going to go one way, and they spent literally 30 to 40 years doing X, Y, Z, only to find out, that's not the way it's going. Mm-hmm. And I'm in no way knocking women or females in any shape or form. It's like, you did this, that, and the other, but turns out that farm ground's appreciated.
Yeah.
And now, we're going to have to cut your sister in, because now it turns out we got $5 million worth of farmer ground if we sell it, and we only got $400,000 cash. We thought we had it covered, but we don't.
Yep.
So we're going to have to cut her in, and by the way, you got to buy this shit from her, and you're 65.
Yeah.
So your plan for working your son into the farming operation just went to shit.
Yeah.
His life's screwed, your life's screwed, and basically might as well all sell everything and just go do something else. Because I see it all the time.
Absolutely. Every day.
I can name you off 10 people right now. Like that same thing's happened to them, more or less, in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Like the other thing I will say about farming in general, and probably boomers in general, and probably just ag in general, communication is key. And I think there is very, very, very little of it in the ag community.
I'm just baffled by some of these people, whether it's locally or not locally, that have 1,000 acres of paid for dirt, a line of machinery. They're not living high on the hog, but when you stop and add up, it's like, that fucking guy's worth.
They didn't even realize what they had.
That guy's worth some money.
Yeah.
And nobody's having a conversation.
Nope,
the
not at all.
dad, he don't even want to talk about it, because I guess he don't want to think about himself dying or whatever. And so they just let it go. Yep. And then the kids got to fight it out, and they never talk to each other again.
I worked with my dad every day since as long as I can remember. We talked about some of it, but we didn't talk about all of it.
Yep.
The conversations I had with my dad versus what my brother had with my dad versus what my mom had with my dad were not all the same conversations.
Yep.
Because heaven forbid we get everybody in the same room and we just
Yeah.
have the conversation. And I'm not. I'm not saying that my situation went wrong or I'm not saying that.
No.
But I literally see it every day. I saw it in my own personal experience. I see it and I'll have the conversation. For some reason, and I suppose maybe I'll get to this point, but I think our father's generation, and I'm not blaming boomers on this, their parents were probably the same way, but it's the mortality of it or whatever. Like they don't want to think about the death, so they don't want to have the conversation.
Yeah. And when it'd be my grandpa. So my dad's a baby boomer. When his dad and all them were getting to the tail end, it was almost like a burden if this kid got the farm ground and you got the cash. It's like, well, I mean, he got ground, he kind of got shorted. At least you got $100,000 cash.
We just saw a local guy here that had recently passed away, but he literally 2 days before he died was just bitching at me that he got screwed because he got the ground and his sister got the cash.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you doing the math on that?
Yeah.
He said, well, I got to work the ground to make any money. That's cash is cash. And I'm like,
I get what he's saying, but you don't have to necessarily work it either. You could just say,
You could
Write
rent
me
it
the
out.
check, yeah.
Rent out to the big wheel from 3 counties away, or whatever. That's such a double-edged sword. But nobody wants to have the conversation. Nobody wants to put through the pain and suffering of that. But have the conversation while the people are alive, even if it's awkward, even if it doesn't go your way. If you have that conversation at 20 years old and it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, when you're 50, you'll be better off if they just said, you know what, Tony, you brought that up, and to hell with you.
Yep.
You brought this conversation up. We're just done with you.
Wouldn't you rather know at 20 versus 50?
Absolutely. And you'll be better off at 50.
Yep.
Guarantee you will. I promise you that. You'll be better off at 50.
Yep.
Than to work till you're 50 and only to find out that, by the way, Papa Joe had 2 kids in Nevada when he was in Vegas. Yeah. And by the way, they just recently found out that he's their dad, and then they want their share too. You know, because weird shit happens.
Absolutely.
So do your deal. Be your own man. And I will tell you this too, and I saw this quote here recently, and this is 100% true. The family you create is way more important than the family you come from.
Oh, absolutely.
So if there's some things about your family that ain't going the way you think they ought to go, so on and so forth, don't be scared to dip your toe in the other water and do your own thing.
Yep.
And I am all for family legacies, and I love that as much as anything, but don't be scared to do your own thing.
Yep.
It'll work out fine.
And the bad part is it's hard for people like you and I to accurately speak about this because our families don't own 2,000 acres.
Don't own a ton of land.
You know.
You and I only have brothers.
Exactly.
It's not a thing, really. I'm just speaking from what I see.
Agree. Yeah.
There's really no personal experience from what I've dealt with. It's more from what I see. Mm-hmm. But let's say, for instance, that you end up with 25,000 acres, okay, and you have 1 boy and 2 girls, okay, and you decide that all the farm ground goes to the boy because, by God, that the farm has to continue, and we're giving it all to Henry. All right, and let's say that Henry has 3 girls, no boys, and your 2 daughters have 3 boys apiece. Well, how far did the legacy continue? Did that really work out? You can only, don't try to control shit from the grave as parents. You just got to go on. I mean, old plat books hanging up in the shop. Half those names don't exist anymore.
Nope. I can name 3 people off the top of my head that their names won't exist in another 20 years from now.
Absolutely.
Around here.
But could their heritage exist had that been planned better? Sure could.
Possibly.
It's possible. Have the conversation, do what you got to do. But we're only alive for a short time.
At the end of the day, all this is material stuff.
It doesn't matter
Does it
anyway.
matter?
It doesn't matter anyway. When you get to heaven, he doesn't care if you own 3,000 acres or 5,000 acres.
That's just where I'm at in life. I am so over the greed, and I will put my hand to the Bible. I am not a greedy person. I just don't care anymore. I don't.
I don't want to farm everything, Tony. Just what touches mine.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the old adage, right? Yep,
absolutely.
I just don't care.
I just don't care enough to care about any of that stuff anymore. I want nice stuff, and I want to be able to do this, that, and the other, but I'm not willing to die trying to get there.
Or ruin friendships or family. I mean, what? For what?
Yeah.
All because you got another 80 acres. Wow.
Yeah. It's just not worth it at some level,
I don't know. And like I said, I guess that's where we're fortunate not coming from large John Dutton estates.
Prime example. John Dutton is a prime example. You're telling me that this guy owns, it never says in the show, but they added 200,000 acres during the one boy's lawyer reign, right? So it's conceivable to think that was probably 600,000 acres before he added 200,000, because the 200,000 seemed to be substantial, but not the majority. So this guy's got 600,000 to 800,000 acres, and his estate plan was nothing, nada.
Yeah.
His estate plan was, well, I'm going to die, and I guess you're screwed. Like literally that. Yeah. But
that's realistic.
But that's realistic. If you live in the Midwest, I've seen that happen. Yep. That's just how it goes. Not to 800,000 acres point, but several $1 million of, well.
And actually,
we didn't plan it out.
I've seen these videos on whether it was TikTok, Facebook, I don't remember. And this could very well be a selling point. People just trying to sell you shit. But they talk about generational wealth is made in how you pass it down.
Absolutely.
Because that makes or breaks somebody.
Absolutely.
And
I am in no way an expert on this. I have learned a few things in the last couple of years, but I will tell you, rich people, uber rich people, ultra rich people are rich for a reason.
yeah.
Because some of that was made way back, and they got really good lawyers and really good planners to pass that down correctly. And you always see the TikTok video on where you never own anything. Your house is leased and all this bullshit. Way above my pay grade, way above my head. But there's a lot of truth to that. Like if you can get somebody that can do all that for you.
Yeah. They got lucky because they confront the $200,000 to save you $200 million. You know, you and I can't do that. I mean,
exactly. Can't do it. Don't even know who I would call. In a small town, you can't even hire that guy, right? Like, there's nobody that knows those loopholes.
Yeah.
But apparently they're out there, and you can plan ahead for a bunch of that shit if you know the right people and the right way to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's, you know, you always hear, well, everybody has to pay in, and it you know, there's all kinds of bullshit on that. And I wish I knew the ins and outs of that, but I don't think they're willing to do that with the $25 that I have.
Right.
But
and we've talked before, you know, that all these guys, or not all of them, I don't want to speak out of turn, but, you know, they always talk about, oh, you should be 3 corporations deep, you know, so you got such and such farms and such trucking and such land holding and this and that. Well, but eventually doesn't all that shit have to pay taxes? Like you don't get to own McCormick Trucking and then it just doesn't pay any taxes.
So back to the Yellowstone thing, and I don't know if that's right, but you know, towards the end of that, Beth's like, well, you don't do any of that. You do all this, and that pays the mortgage on that, and you never pay taxes, and you're good. I think there's some truth to that if you do it.
Oh, I'm sure there is because people do it.
People do it. I don't know how. I don't know how they're doing it, but
Right.
I think that happens.
Yeah, I think there's something to it.
And that's great if they're pulling it off, I guess, because I'm all for the government getting less of my money.
Agreed.
But unfortunately, they're getting less of their money and more of mine. But I'm of the mindset that I don't think any one income level should pay more than another.
Agreed. It
If
should
the
be a
Lord
flat
and
rate.
Savior Jesus Christ can get by on 10%, I think the U.S. government should get by on 10%.
Agreed.
I think 10% should be the cap. I think you should pay 10% in taxes, whether that's property, income, whatever. Sales, cumulative. And beyond that, you're just shit out of luck. Figure out how to do with less. That's all you're getting.
Yep.
You're getting 10% of my money. If I make $100,000 a year, you're getting $10,000.
Yep.
And that's it. Figure out how to make it work. And damn sure ain't gonna be paving the roads because they're getting way more than 10% and the roads still suck.
Yep.
So whatever. But
I've just always wondered how that works because, like I say, and this is just coming from simple old me that knows nothing about nothing. And so let's just say we got McCormick Diesel, we got McCormick Trucking, McCormick Farms, McCormick Land Holdings. So everybody's fudging these numbers around. McCormick Farms is renting ground from McCormick Land Holdings, and the trucking is hauling the grain. But at the end of the day, doesn't all of them entities pay taxes, right? Now I get it. You're reducing the tax burden per entity versus
you're
showing.
reducing that, and some of them are at different rates.
Right, that's
And
what I mean.
there's ways around all that.
Instead of showing that I made $500,000, I split $500,000 between 4.
From what I'm told, I'm not good enough to tell you the real answer to that. But yeah, they're getting around some stuff.
Yeah.
No doubt, they're getting around some stuff. It's way different than if one person owned all that.
Yeah. And don't misunderstand me here on the podcast. I'm not just talking about farmers. I mean, everybody does it from Donald Trump to whoever.
Absolutely.
They've all used it. And,
Absolutely.
And I just wish I knew how or had enough stuff to make it worth my time to do that. Because
That would be way more useful in high school than chemistry.
Agreed.
You could probably use that skill.
Agreed.
You know, but whatever.
But that's the hidden one that they don't want to tell you.
Well, yeah, they don't want everybody to know that because somebody's got to pay that shit in so the other guys can save.
And I will fucking promise you, I have paid my fair share of the last 2 fucking years. I don't ever want to hear that on TikTok. And, oh, you don't pay taxes. Fuck you. I will fucking assure you I have paid taxes.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that there's ways around it. I don't have the ways, but there are ways around it.
Yeah. I just wish we could just reset back to the early to mid 90s.
Do you think the guys that were our age then wanted to reset back 20, 30 years?
That would be a good question for somebody that was...
Like, did they want to go back then too or no?
And that would be skewed because they didn't want no part of the 80s. The 70s were really good. I don't know.
60s were good.
Yeah.
50s were okay other than, was it 53 or 4? They had the drought.
50. It was either 53 or 4. I forget now.
Yeah. Only time that well went dry was in 53.
Yeah.
We had 4 cows, but yeah.
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 But I really do think we have reached the pinnacle of to where there's a bunch of people, not just a few outliers here, but I think there's a bunch of people that are like, you know what, this is too big, too fast, too out of control. We need to step back a little bit.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, Tony, where there was movies coming out about AI and how that was going to ruin the world, and
Which
the
it
Terminators
is.
were taking over, and now we're getting to see it. And
This AI is dangerous.
I'm looking for Sarah Connor, and we're going to go get in a bunker somewhere because this ain't looking good.
I'm telling you, this AI is dangerous. I don't think there's going to be robots with AK-47s roaming the streets yet. It's just a
But
simple
it's
fact.
probably not that far off, sadly.
No, but we've seen, and I made a TikTok about this here a while back, that it's so good that they could get on TikTok tomorrow, because we know how these people blindly follow these stupid accounts that ain't even mine or whose ever.
Yeah.
I don't think I do start making racial slurs, and
Yeah.
you could have a police chief AI that says that I got caught with some
Yeah.
underage
Absolutely.
person
Yeah.
that didn't even happen. You just immediately ruin somebody's life, because the bad news always spreads like wildfire, right?
Absolutely. Of course it does.
And it's like, I didn't even do it, So that's where I think you're going to get into you're going to have people that you think said something that actually didn't say or do
Absolutely.
something.
That AI is getting a little too good.
It is out of control.
And just think, it didn't come out that long ago.
No,
And
agreed.
it's gotten way better,
Yes,
way fast.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we're going to have Ryan Kelly admitting that 1466 Internationals were the best tractor ever made.
No
I mean,
doubt. And I will be the first one to promote that AI video. Ryan, if you're out there, you know it's true.
oh, yeah.
You're going to admit it one way or the other.
Yep. And he's going to say, wow, we got you saying that the 6030 was the best tractor
You
ever
didn't
made.
get me saying that. I was asleep.
That was it,
I was
yeah.
asleep during that
Exactly.
because I couldn't take any more. Your sound guard cab was so quiet, I fell asleep.
Yeah. But it is scary. And I don't know where we're heading. It does make me a little bit sad that I won't live to see where some of this ends up. Just just for I'm not that I'm an old man, but I mean, some of this won't catch up with us in time, but
Yeah.
I am kind of scared for my kids.
Yeah. But don't you think every generation was scared for their kids?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can read letters from people in World War II back home that, I mean, it was the rapture, and I mean, the world's over. I get it.
And then once in a while you see one of those videos where, Cleopatra was closer to World War II or whatever than
Yeah.
she was to the pyramids or whatever. And it's like, well, holy shit. And the people that were watching the pyramids be like, well, this is about the end of it.
Yeah.
Depending on what you believe
See,
in.
like my
that
brain
was
literally
done.
stops about the founding of the U.S. Like
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't go back that
And
much.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
It was
but
there, but yeah, I can't.
I just.
yeah.
I just
'Cause
can't fathom
even
that.
the things that have happened there, like, yeah. It's like we were talking the other day. I'm like, you know how bad Europe must have sucked to get on a wooden boat with no map, very little food, no money, to come over here and be essentially a slave or an indentured servant or
Yeah.
somebody's bitch and start your own world? Like, it must have been pretty shitty.
Like you're going to ride on this boat for. I think that was like a 3-month trip back then. Like it took forever.
yeah.
So you're going to skate through that without dying, hopefully. By the
Yeah.
time you get here, you're pretty much beat down, worn down, starved to death. But when you get here, then you're going to have to build a house,
Yeah.
find some food.
Yeah. Well, first off, they're getting on horses and wagons they don't have any money for.
Yeah.
And they're driving halfway across the country because all that shit was already occupied by the time my elders came over here. So they have to get past the first people that came here because they've already fucked that up. So they got to get past them
Yeah.
and move further west, which leads to my theory on, why the smartest people in the world live in Illinois, Tony?
Why is that?
I mean, minus J.B. Pritzker. He's not from here. Well, initially they're like, well, Europe sucks. So we're going to go on this boat. We're going to go across. So we do. They're like, some more Europeans keep showing up, keep fucking this deal up. We got to move. Okay, cool. So they start moving west. And finally they get to the Mississippi River and they're like, you want me to cross that on a horse? Nope. I'm good right here.
Staying right here.
And that's why the best people in the world live in Illinois.
There you go.
Because they're not crossing that on a horse.
This is true.
Now, I don't care how small that river used to be. When I look at it now,
It's big.
I'm not crossing that on a horse.
No.
Could be a big horse, still not crossing it.
I challenge anybody listening, next time you're going down the interstate, a country road, whatever, take your pick, to just look out the window and think of every little creek, ravine,
Holy shit, that's a bunch, isn't it?
to get across all that shit
On
with
a
a
horse.
couple of
And a
horses
wagon. And a
pulling a
wagon.
fucking wagon.
Oregon Trail did not do it justice.
No, absolutely not.
Dysentery would be the least of my concern.
Yeah. And it's
Like-
even more scary when you get west to where, like here, I mean, yeah, we've got creeks, but if enough people come through there, a few guys with some hose and shovels in the afternoon can at least make a ford across.
Well, they weren't washed out back then, Tony. The erosion was less then.
Well, this is true, yeah, because
Yeah,
all the
cover
plants, yeah,
cover
we had
crops
cover
then,
crops.
yeah.
Yeah. But when you get out west where it's rock, it's like,
Yeah.
we know this has been here.
Yeah.
And it may only be 30 foot wide, but it's 100 foot deep.
If the Grand Canyon is in fact as grandiose as they claim it to have been, for as long as they claim it to have been, how in the hell did anybody get through that?
Agreed.
You can have a really nice wagon and a pretty good horse. I don't think you're making it through that.
I don't think you are.
You're not going around.
No. Nope.
Just saying.
So I wonder, like when all this shit started getting settled and developed, was it literally just a mile at a time? Like we think of people that got on a wagon and you drove from New Jersey to Missouri.
yeah.
But was it more a mile, like basically this guy settles
Probably.
here and he wants to cross the creek because maybe he's going to put some cattle over there. So he digs out a ford. Well, the next guy comes through. Way, can I use your ford? Okay. So then, like, how slow
Probably.
was this process? I mean,
Probably was. Yeah. One of the towns we drove through tonight on our adventure was founded in 1893. And I don't know when ours was just 150 years old.
I think ours was like 1873 and 74 or something like that.
So ours is older than theirs, and they're east
yeah.
of here.
Yeah.
So how'd that work?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like where I grew up, I don't know why you would have settled there. It's a low spot.
Right.
Like, it was swamp.
You didn't have
back
to
in
carry
the
water,
day.
though.
You have to carry water. That's true. A bunch of that was, back in the day was based on wood. Like
Yeah.
where could you
Absolutely.
get wood to build something from?
Yep.
Which is ironic coming from Europe, where apparently nothing's
No,
made
it's
from
it's
wood.
all stone. I was just
It's all
there.
stone.
There's
Yeah.
nothing made of wood.
But there was no rocks here.
Yeah.
Thank God. So they had to make it from wood.
So here's what I want to know, too. So we've always heard, Illinois, the prairie grass was head high when you was on horseback. And I'm not saying it wasn't. But nowadays, if you leave 1 acre untouched for 2 years, it's cottonwood and maple trees, fucking 9 feet
Galore.
tall.
Yeah.
So is this true, or,
Yeah.
or did the cover crops keep that at
Well,
bay?
those that write history are the winners, Tony. So
They are.
they can tell you whatever they want.
I think it was cottonwoods from here to Wisconsin, because it damn sure would be now.
It's probably some damn carpenters union that's
It probably was.
bad media.
Yep.
It's feeding us full of shit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd have cottonwoods in no time. Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Don't know where they come from, but cottonwoods and maples.
We have one farm that grows wild onion.
Yep.
If you leave it lay, it's wild onion across the whole thing.
Yep. We fight that in wheat too, garlic, same
I've
shit.
got another field literally an eighth of a mile from there. Never seen a wild onion there in my life. Was that all wild onions back in the day? Did Jimmy Crockett throw a
Yeah,
freaking
the Jolly Green Giant was over there.
yeah, throw an onion out? Like how's that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, the
Never
ground
know.
north of us, nobody wanted it. It was a swamp. You couldn't do nothing with it. You couldn't even get through with a horse and wagon.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Down here, you want it because, hell, we got timber, a little bit of farm ground, a little bit of pasture. We got it all. But
So in Tony and I's immediate area, and it's still this way a little bit. It's about phased out, but there used to be a ton of people that owned 5 acres
Yep.
that was landlocked, that was all trees. Because back in the day, that's where they got their wood to build their house, their barn, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't need a lot. They just
you
needed
might have
5 acres.
homesteaded a flat, square 160 on the prairie, but you needed
you had
lumber.
You had 5 acres of wood somewhere else to get done what you needed to get done. And those are about all sold off for hunting. Or
Pretty well.
whatever
I only
now.
know of about 3 or 4 left.
Yeah,
total.
there's not very many, but 10 years ago there was still a lot.
Oh, yeah. Hell yes, there was.
But yeah, it's interesting to see how all that goes.
It is. It's all not quite come full circle, but feels like it's trying. I don't know. I take it one day at a time.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not a
too.
wealthy man. Never will be. So
Me
I really
either,
don't
and
care.
And I'm old enough at this point in time. Like
That's where I'm at.
I won't sell tell people not to dream because you should, and that's the only way you get to those goals. But I'm old enough now that I'm just kind of living
where I'm at.
Living
I'm
day
just
to
kind of
day
coasting.
and enjoying it for what it is. And I don't know. I don't know. I applaud people that have these lofty aspirations and goals, and that's how things get built and things get done. But you watch Men Who Built America, and if you wanted to try to recreate that today, it ain't happening.
No way.
Not even close. All those guys would be epic failures.
Absolutely.
None of that shit's working. Like that. That was neat that it panned out for you, and literally all those legacies continue today.
Right.
Kind of, sort of.
And people got to realize too, they didn't have any competition back then.
No.
I mean, you made billions of dollars building railroads because you're the only fucking guy building railroads. I mean, and there wasn't 900 million government regulations standing in your way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, your house is sitting here. We're bringing a railroad through. You just doze the fucking house down.
Absolutely.
That ain't
Now, are a
happening.
million new millionaires created every day? Yes, they are. But it's usually on the tech side of things, and a lot of it's dumb luck.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
I happened to start this website, and it turned into something. You'd think Mark Zuckerberg was the smartest kid in his sixth grade class. Probably not.
Nope.
He stumbled into some shit that he may or may not have stole. He's basically the John Deere of social media.
He is.
He stole some shit and it turned into something bigger. No offense. Well, a little bit of offense, John Deere. But anyway, and that worked out for him. But I don't know. I'm not saying not to dream. I'm not telling you that at all. But I'm saying enjoy what you've got, why you've got it, because you're going to miss all that shit when it's gone.
Is there any profession in America that you can get to the top and be uber wealthy by not being crooked? I'm not saying there is or isn't. But generally, when you end up with I don't care if you were Rockefeller, Carnegie, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Buffett, it's always funny how to hear the one side of the story, my God, they came from nothing and look what they built. But then 20 years into it, it's like, well, yeah, he greased this fucking guy's palm over
He
here.
may have screwed this guy over here.
Yeah,
or
and
there.
then, well, this politician just happened to be from the same hometown. It was funny that he passed some legislation that banned everybody else from doing
There's
that.
some very curious timing on a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, life comes down to who you know.
Absolutely.
Like, and if I could give young people advice, I would say network.
Oh, for sure.
If college has a benefit in today's society, it's the networking. You know, when we were getting out of high school and they're saying, well, if you didn't go to college, I mean, basically you might as well start digging ditches. Like you're just screwed. And then bring on, years after that in COVID where basically you could be everything but a CEO and not have college if you just show up. But it still comes down to networking. Like if you know enough people and the right people and you're willing to move and take a chance, you can get to the top of the mountain.
Well, I totally agree.
But a lot of it comes down to who you know. Somewhere in the world, Nancy Pelosi's dipshit cousin is a multimillionaire
For sure.
because he or she knows Nancy Pelosi
Yeah.
and has done
Literally.
nothing more than that. But whatever.
But you're exactly right on that because just through my little stupid shit through TikTok,
Yeah.
I've made a hell of a network of people that,
Yeah. And the world's changed. I'm not saying you have to have college for it now. Like you can do it through TikTok. You can do it through Facebook. You can do it through Instagram, whatever.
yep.
But networking is key. Like, I don't understand. I run into this all the time, as do you. But, I just can't believe you talked to this stranger or this, that, and the other. Like, that doesn't bother me in the least. It doesn't faze me. I enjoy it. I'm a people person. I love people. But you got people that want to crawl in their hole and they want to talk to their two cousins, their sister, their brother, their parents. That's it. That's all the people they want to talk to in the world. And that's fine. That's them. That's not me. And I don't understand how you get anywhere or do anything with that. Like, I didn't plan trips this way, but it's like anytime I went through Wisconsin, it's like, well, okay, you come across this road sign. It's like, well, I know a guy there. So if I blow a tire, I used to tractor pull with a guy that lives in Baraboo.
Sure.
Whatever. Pick your town. Okay, no problem. I can solve this. It's never actually happened to me for the most part, thank goodness. But I know people in the Midwest for the most part. Like if I have to, I can.
That's kind of valuable when you're 3 states away.
Absolutely, right? It's like you can make that work. I'm like, so if you live in your little hole, who you going to call? I don't know who you're going to call.
No,
Not Ghostbusters.
No, definitely not.
I just, that's just me. And That's fine, whatever. But like, for those of you out there that want to come up to me, I won't speak for Tony on this, but I'm pretty sure he's on the same page. You want to come up to us, whatever event, and say hi.
Oh,
feel free. I enjoy that.
Same.
More than you'll ever know.
If I didn't, I wouldn't go to these events.
Absolutely. It doesn't bother me in the least.
Same.
Come on over, say hi, whatever. Like, I love that.
Yep. And I'll give you guys a preface is what the word I'm trying to say. Not a preference, a preface. I've done this enough that like all the people that walk by and from 40 foot away, they very first, like I see you looking at me and then you come over and you go 30 feet away from me and you start circling.
Yeah.
I know you're going to say something, so just cut out the walking and just come over and say it. I don't care. It's totally fine. I wouldn't be at the farm show or the wherever if I wasn't a part of that. I don't care.
Now, if I look like I'm in an intense conversation with somebody else, okay, or whatever. But some of my best friends in the world have been pretty random on all this deal. You know,
totally.
When this very first started, you know, I talk about this all the time. Guy drove from Montana down here.
Yeah, on a whim.
Unannounced, on a whim. Well, for instance, to this day, like still talk to him probably monthly.
Yep.
You know, he's been here, I don't know, half a dozen times.
Yep.
Whatever. Talk to him probably on average once a month, whatever.
Agreed.
You know, that's worked out great. You know, Red Power Stew had randomly called me way before TikTok was a thing with a question. I shut him down. He, to this day, gives me a hard time about it. He wanted to do something with the Cummins pulling tractor. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Yep. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's going to cost way more than you wanted to do. Like that, don't do that.
Yep.
Well, then fast forward 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it was, this deal rolled up. I talk to him once a week.
Yeah.
You know,
agreed.
At least once a week.
Yep.
You know, probably text every couple of days.
Yep.
Talk to him once a week.
Yeah.
That's just what it's turned into.
When TikTok very first started, and this would be for some of you that maybe haven't followed me through the whole thing, but when TikTok first started, you kind of get people that come across your page. You're like, man, I could connect with this guy. Like, don't know the guy from Adam, but like,
you kind of know.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And so there was a guy on TikTok way back then. He went by the name Farm Boy Matt. Mm-hmm. He lives north of here, Bloomington, Illinois. And actually, I just ran into him at the Maggie Show. We drank beer for 3 hours. Yep.
You haven't seen him for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he come down here on a whim one night. We headed off, had a great time. And like 3 weeks later, he come down and started drinking beer on like 1 o'clock on a random Saturday afternoon. What are we going to do? I said, there's this guy, Cody Gayer. I said, he just lives 2 hours south of me. Neither one of us had ever met this guy, didn't know him from Adam. I said, we're going to fucking Cody. So I think Matt texted him on TikTok, hey, we're coming down. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. I mean, I talked to the guy numerous times, every day, 365 days. We've been on vacation together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how all that works, you know.
Would have never known a guy without a little bit of networking.
And you know, I've talked about this, like, you got your local friends, and that's fine. And that's great. There's things you can talk about with them that you can't necessarily talk about with somebody that's a little bit outside of your local area for whatever reason. You know, if you're looking at buying this 80 acres, right? Like, you and I can talk about it, but you can't necessarily talk about it at the 4 other people we're going to meet at the bar.
Agree.
We go there right now.
Totally agree.
Because that can kind of bite you in the ass maybe, but you can talk to a guy that lives 2 hours away.
And word will get out.
2 states away, whatever, about it. Like, hey, here's what I'm thinking on this. How do you think this is going to play out?
Yep.
You can have that conversation. So don't be scared of that. It's worked out great for both of us.
Been nothing but positive for me. Yeah. It really truly has. It's taken me all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Just do it. And I know people. So I've made my networking through TikTok mostly, which bled into Facebook because I didn't go to college. So I mean, I just lived in my own little bubble here locally. I didn't branch out and live in a frat house with 20 other guys. I just didn't. There's anything wrong with that. So this has been my way of networking. There's been nothing but positive.
Absolutely.
And these people that, I'm not going to make TikToks, or I feel stupid, or I don't want to look at my phone, or I want to look at the camera. Just do it.
And I get all that. Like, I don't do near as many videos as I should. If somebody recognizes me, it's usually from my voice, which maybe backs my wife's theory up that I have an inaudible voice tone that's unique. But whatever. Is neither here nor there. But networking is very key.
Absolutely.
It's very valuable. It's very useful. It's a great thing. Don't be scared to talk to somebody. people in general are great.
They are.
As a population, yeah, we suck. But people individually are great. You know?
Do you know out of literally and I mean, you've been to farm shows and shit and wherever with me in general. And I'm not tooting my own horn, I'm not. But out of the tens of thousands of people I've met, I've only had one bad experience.
Yeah.
And through the whole, I'm not going to call it relationship or whatever, it wasn't necessarily bad, but I just found out some stuff that,
Yeah, probably time not to hang out with them.
yeah, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
One time out of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Them are pretty good
Absolutely.
odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I say, the person never treated me bad, never nothing. I wouldn't even have known it if somebody else hadn't brought some things to light. And it's like, hey, I talked to the guy. I'm like, hey, this is the deal. That's just going to be what it's going to be, and that's it.
In general, people are great. And I probably view things a little different than some people because, like, a buddy of mine always gives me a hard time. He's like, every time I want to talk shit about somebody, you've got some positive comment to say, which is ironic because I'm not necessarily known as a positive person. But when it comes to people, like, everybody's a sinner, everybody's wrong at some level. Like, nobody's perfect. I get it. I'm a shithead. Like, I'm not good. So I'm like, well, so and so. I was having a conversation with them. Like, they seem pretty good. They did this for me, or whatever. Like, it's fine. Do they have their negative qualities? Sure, everybody does. But in general, people are great.
Oh, for sure.
They're fine. People suck, but people are great. Like, the farm community as a whole are the best people you'll ever meet.
Absolutely.
Absolutely ever meet.
And I'm telling you right now, this country is not as divided.
It's not near as divided as they want to make it out to be.
And I even know people that are opposite side of the aisle as I am, that, and maybe they're diehard, and we don't talk about it, but we get along great. That's whatever. I mean,
and at some level, if you have that personal relationship with them, you just don't talk about that particular topic, and that's fine. You can talk about anything else. You can talk about farming. You can talk about whatever. We can all come together. That
my very best friend in high school, you knew it. Him and I were inseparable.
Yeah,
they were on the opposite side of the aisle.
Absolutely.
But I guess he wasn't to the extreme side either. I wouldn't say. But we just don't talk about it, and we get along great. Yeah. Totally great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't let the little things hang you up. You can miss a lot of good by focusing on the one bad.
For sure.
I mean, we
can all agree that 79 was the best year for trucks and people for me. But and 69 was the best year for cars. So if you base it on that, and the 90s farming tractors were awesome too. So if you start with that, you're pretty much good to go.
Look at you, Ryan Kelly. He's as diehard John Deere as it gets. He won't admit that, but he is.
Oh, he's a diehard green guy.
I hope he's listening to this because he is.
He is.
Yeah. And you're as diehard red as it gets.
Yeah. But we found common ground.
Exactly.
We found common ground.
It's
we both
totally
like cheese curds. We found common ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to drive whatever he's driving to do. I don't want to drive Clifford to do chores. He doesn't want to drive my shit to do whatever. And that's fine.
That's right.
We're good with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do hope someday that we can find a way here locally, because I get a lot of messages of people passing through. I had 100 messages from people passing through to Half Century Progress that want to stop by. And I wish, I truly do, I really do, you know this, I wish I could accommodate these people. I really do. But there's no good way to do it, because I got to work through the day too. I mean, I can't just hang out all day fucking around.
I don't get it as much as you do, because I'm not near as big on any of those platforms as you are, but I'm easier to find than you are.
Right.
At some level. So what I get now is, hey, so-and-so's coming to pick up parts, and they bring 3 buddies. Yeah. Because they've listened to the podcast or the TikToks, whatever, or they're just trying to find an avenue to find out if they can maybe see you. Whatever. I've told you this before. I'm basically your secretary. Yeah. Because I'm easier to get a hold of.
Exactly.
And that's fine. I'll that's my
your phone number's out there, mine ain't.
That's my cross to bear. I'll take it. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. It's fine. Don't hesitate to do that if you're out there. But it would be nice if there was an easier way to do some of that. You know, and part of that's all my own fault. Like I said, I was going to Bowling Green, but I didn't tell people exactly where I was going to be, when I was going to be, and I should have done that. And I know that, but I just honestly, it's
so like a prime example. So this weekend, Nick and I got a big tractor drive. That happens every year, Labor Day weekend coming up. Local family here, their dad died 12 years ago. So they have a big tractor drive in honor of the guy. I would love to do that because I get tons of messages. Man, I wish we would do stuff like that around here, blah, blah, blah. But the only thing that holds me back is I don't have a place to accommodate 500 trucks and trailers.
Yeah, exactly.
If I did, I would do it, but I don't. So I can't. But I don't know. So there's been some discussion of maybe backing the beater with a heater up to the month of March, last week in March.
Yeah.
The weather's
Nobody's in the field yet.
getting nice. Yeah, nobody's in the field.
Yeah.
It's not ungodly hot outside. So
leave it in the comments of this video if you think that's an okay deal.
exactly.
You guys
So
can make it.
we might have to double up here. We might have another one here again in March.
Yeah.
But I wanna pick a certain day if we can find our way here and just say, okay, from now on it's the last Saturday in March. Whatever the date may be.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And that's when we're going to do it.
Make it a big deal.
And I don't care if 5,000 people show up. In fact, I think it'd be funny if 5,000 people showed up.
That's what we're looking for.
Exactly.
Because honestly, everybody I've met on that deal are great people.
Absolutely. And every year it's
With
different
a bunch
people.
Of cool shit. Yeah, and every year's different people. Like some of those guys, this is what still amazes me. Like, well, we came from...
Yeah, the one guys came from Green Bay, Wisconsin on a whim.
And some of those guys, well, they stay there for an hour and they're like, well, we got to get rolling. Well, you literally drove 7 hours to stay for an hour, which I get. Whatever, you got to be back whenever you got to be back. That's fine. But in the short term, if you're listening to this tomorrow on your way to the Farm Progress Show, I'll be at the Case IH booth, I think, at 2 o'clock, and Tony will be in the AGCO booth on Wednesday all afternoon.
Exactly. I haven't figured out my Wednesday morning yet. I'm not sure what time I'll get there, where I'm going to be. Most time I just kind of jack around and just wherever I am, I am. And
I probably won't get to the booth too much before 2, but if you want to say hi, whatever, after 3 o'clock, I think it's 2 to 3 is when I'm going to be there for whatever we're doing. I think I'm on a podcast about tractor pulling and the history of with the OEM stuff tied into it. I think it's what it is. Look me up at 3 o'clock and we'll do whatever.
my goal for 26 is we're going to do a live podcast on location somewhere. I don't care if it's Louisville.
I'm telling you.
The Maggie Show, the Farm Prairie Show.
We're going to do Louisville and Bowling Green.
Okay, whatever you want to do.
If we did a live podcast at Bowling Green, that's a whole nother level.
And see, I think we don't sell them. We just give out, like the little tear-off tickets.
We have to regulate it at some level.
Yeah, like I'm in this to make money. I don't care. Yeah. We'll tear off tickets. Anybody wants to watch, and then we might pull out a ticket. And you want to be on the podcast with us for 5 minutes?
Oh my gosh, those people go nuts.
I think
I'm just going to tell you right now: the better looking you are, the better chances you are at Bowling Green on getting on the podcast.
This is true.
Yeah, we're gonna. There's that board out there.
Yeah,
where they can judge them.
That's right.
And we're going to go to the right end of that board.
Yep. And it's funny how, like, when you say, like, good looking, so is where I'm going with this is, so I get tons of mail. I mean, I've got a stack of mail 3 feet tall just from over the years that I've got. And I read every single one that I get, and I save every single one that I get. And at one time, this podcast room was full of it. I've taken them down and moved them now. So you're going to like this story. So our school didn't have football growing up. We're a super tiny school. We didn't have it. Wasn't there. So
what our conference does.
Graduated high school in 1998, went to Marysville, Kansas for wheat harvest the very next day. And so we got talking, and like football is like religion to them guys out there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never been to a football game. They're like, I mean, these guys went in a crisis lockdown. Like, you've never been to a football game? Like the one brother, he went to K-State and played football. So they're big football guys. Oh my God, we get done with wheat harvest, we're taking you to a football game. Okay, that's fine. So we did. I've been to one football game in my life. It was a high school football game. We got back to their place that fall, which was unbelievable. And I don't remember a ton of it because us younger kids, we all got drunk and went to the game.
Yeah.
Well, like they didn't clearly serve alcohol at the high school ball game, but I just remember.
A lot cooler if they did, but sure.
Absolutely. But I just remember this football field. So I'm on one side of the field, but both teams, for whatever reason, this way it was laid out, both teams were on the opposite side of the field of me.
Yeah.
And the side that I was on was nothing but 45-year-old dads just running up and down the field, just screaming and yelling. Like you'd never seen such chaos in your life. I'm like, holy shit, this is what high school football is. So fast forward, like, I'm going to guess back in March, probably. I get a letter in the mail from a guy just north of here. And he was telling me that he's a security guard at a school, and there's a teacher retiring. This teacher really likes all my stuff, and they want to come down and drink beer sometime. And he left his phone number. I'm like, well, they're close enough. That's probably doable. You know? So I text the guy. I'm like, hey, yep, got your letter. Let's go out and drink beer, sometime, whatever. Yeah. So fast forward to about July. He shoots me a text one day, and he says, hey, we're going out on a party bus. He's officially retired, and I think it was actually the guy's birthday by this point. We're going to be at the Brewbank, our hometown, on Saturday, blah, 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 whatever time. Would you come down and drink a beer with us? Hell yeah, I'll do it. Of course, I think you and I got extremely drunk the night before, so I wasn't feeling up
surely not
to snuff. But I'm like, nope, I told the guy I'll be there, got to power through. So meet them down at the Brewbank at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Totally hit it off with all these guys. So come to find out, there's a high school football coach just north of here who's got a really, really, really good team. And like 4 of these kids have potential to actually really do something with this, like possibly NFL, if not play really big college ball. So he's there. Him and I hit it off immediately. There's another high school football coach from just south of us there. They're all buddies. So they set it up that here in October, when them 2 teams play each other, I get to go to the game, and I get to wear the headset and listen to all this shit because I know nothing about football. Like, I don't know what a defensive coordinator, I don't know what any of this shit
What kind of bat are we using?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll put you clear up top on top of the press box. You get to see all this, and you come down, you can wear the headsets and this and that. I'm like, I just want to scream at people and tell them what piece of shit. You're just a piece of shit. God damn it, you fucked it up. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to fit right in. So that's what we're going to do this fall. So we're going to make some good TikToks. So actually, when these 2 teams play each other, I'm going to go on one side, and the wife's going to go on the other side, and we're going to scream and yell at these kids. And actually, I probably won't. I'm just going to, because I don't even know what the fuck I'd be screaming about. But,
I'll just scream anyway.
Exactly. That's kind of what I thought. So
they don't even know what they're doing wrong. Just tell them they're doing it wrong. Yeah.
But that kind of comes back to the networking thing. Like, I would have never met these guys at all had he not. But he sent a very catchy message. Like when he wrote this out, like I forget, he was cussing and just the way I talk on TikTok.
And I do feel bad. Like I catch messages here and there. I try to be good about it, but I'm not. I mean, I got 10,000 unread emails, 487 unread texts. So I'm not great about all that. But if I happen to catch yours, I'll get back with you.
And that's the same with TikTok. I don't know that I've ever, and now somebody will probably call me out on this, but any genuine TikTok message, I have always responded to. Like
I try to, but it gets to the point it's tough to do, and I'm not religious about checking all that.
Some of that, if it's the stupid, hey, how many acres you farm or whatever, I'm not doing. But if it's a legit question, hey, I'm coming through. Yeah. Got to go here. Have you ever heard of this town? Or do you know this person? Or what? I'll try to at least respond to that. Yes, no, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if we don't answer your message, it's not intentional. It's just.
Or it's a shitty message. Rephrase it and fucking try again.
Yeah. Find a better message.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Try to give us a better message than an old dog would.
Yeah. That's right. Exactly.
Don't just say woof.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long this sumbitches went, but it's.
Well, you guys said you like long podcasts, so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you your money's worth. On your drive to the Farm Progress Show tomorrow, enjoy. Look at Tony Reed up in the booth on AGCO's booth on Wednesday.
Yep.
And I should be in the Case IH booth at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, which will be the day you're going to hear this.
Yep. I'll try to get this podcast uploaded in the morning.
If not, most of this shit's going to be weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You won't catch Nick on Tuesday. You might catch me on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I'll try to get this uploaded first thing in the morning for the people driving.
But if you don't catch me on Tuesday, send me a message, whatever. I'll try to meet up with you somewhere on Thursday if this goes late.
I know some of these companies do after show stuff.
Yeah.
I wish we had a way to do that, but we're just far enough.
Just far enough away. We could probably do something and probably turn it into a train wreck. But
it would.
Yeah.
Depends on how big of a train wreck you guys want to get involved in. I mean, we're up for anything because it ain't nothing to me and Nick. We're only driving 4 miles. If you guys want to drive 4 hours, that's fine.
Knock yourselves out.
Anyway.
Have a great day.
Yeah, hope this has been long enough. June 18th all the way to...
We'll try to get another one in here before the 3-month mark.
We got to bang some harvest shit out, too, so people got stuff to listen to in the combine. So, anyway, see you guys.
Later.